Welcome to The Lady Killers, a feminine rage podcast. Hello, and welcome to The Lady Killers, a feminine rage podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer's Body Adams, and I tried caviar one time. I decided to be super fancy, and I went to Kroger, and I got $12 caviar in a tiny little jar, because there's this episode of Frasier where they get caviar from like Russians. Sammy, you've probably seen. Y'all have seen? Yes.
I've watched
and it's
all
like
of
the
Frasier.
the caviar mafia, and then Roz gets addicted to it, and she's like, you can put it on pizza, you can put it on bagels. And I was like, I'm gonna see if that's true. And it's probably because this was garbage caviar, $12 Kroger caviar that was like up at the top of the thing.
Like it was a jar, you said? Like, 'cause I'm picturing like a little like can of sardines.
Exactly. Yeah, it was not that. It looked like a capers jar, you know.
I like capers.
I do too. I did not like this caviar.
I've never had it.
I don't know if it's good or not, you know. So listeners, let us know. Are you a caviar bitch? Have you tried it? Is it good?
Isn't it just fish eggs? Like,
yes.
Okay. I've had that on top of sushi, but it's like the orange one.
Oh, yeah. That's the smelt roe.
Salmon roe or something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
now that shit's
the form
good.
of it. I like that. I like the way it pops on my tongue.
I think this is a little more, hopefully it would be more substantive, but you know, I don't know, because we are not private plane girlies.
No, we're not.
We would never be caught at Manorgate on either side. Today we are watching The Hunt, and I am super excited to talk about it because this is like quintessential Eat the Rich programming, you know?
It really is.
But I'm not alone on this plane. I am joined by a fabulous panel of lady killer experts. Rachel, say hello and tell us, what's your ideal grilled cheese sandwich?
Hi, Rachel Reeves here. For some reason, I want to say Quiet Piggy.
I know.
Thinking about the pig.
There was a lot of pig content.
Lots of pig content here.
That's true.
Ideal grilled cheese sandwich. You know, I am an equal opportunist employer for all grilled cheeses, but the perfect pairing with, you know, just some tomato soup. You got to dunk. Yeah. That's like, that's like the best. I also don't like bread that's too like thick and hard.
Yeah.
It needs to be toasted, not soggy, Jen. I know no soggy bread here.
But crisp, but not like burnt.
You know? Or like you don't want it to cut your mouth.
Exactly. You know, sourdough can sometimes be real kind of rough when it's toasted, and so
Oh my God, Rambo's getting worked the fuck up.
We said cheese. So.
Oh.
He's like, I have things to say about this.
Yeah.
Yes, my ideal grilled cheese sandwich
is
that word. No medicine, and give it to me right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Little Benadryl stuff's in there. Little itchy boy.
Well, Sammy, say hello and tell us, what's your ideal grilled cheese sandwich?
This is Sammy, crisis actor Rothman. And I was honestly sort of like, I thought you were going to ask us what our favorite or who our favorite pig in cinema was.
I was
Babe.
Like sometimes
Miss Piggy?
I've never seen Babe.
I've never seen Babe either. But I know that'll do Pig. I do know that.
And I know he goes to the city eventually.
Yes, he does go to the city. Similar to how Miss Piggy takes Manhattan. So
I love Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy is probably my favorite, but I also like, there's a show on Disney called Gravity Falls that I love. And Mabel is one of the character, and she has a pig named Waddles, and he is so funny. And Waddles has become probably my favorite pig in cinema. Not that you asked this question, but I wanted to bring it up.
I love thinking about this. You remember when George Clooney had that cute little pig that he carried around?
I don't remember that.
He had a little pot-bellied pig, and he broke up with some girls because they didn't like his pig.
Attaboy.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, didn't take much for him, I don't think.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, there was a line outside his door.
I think Miley Cyrus had a pig too. Like, that was like a thing. It was like an accessory, like a chihuahua for a minute, you know?
Yeah, it was like the evolution past Paris Hilton. Like, well, I'm going to have a pig.
Yes, little pocket
This is my pig bag.
Yeah, yes. So now that we got that out of the way, now that we can move on, we've covered all of the really important shit. Grilled cheese. Have to agree with Rachel. Tomato bisque and a grilled cheese is like, I probably crave it once a week at least. As you guys know, as attendees at my wedding, the late night snack that was served was little grilled cheeses and cups of tomato bisque because I am a child and the hors d'oeuvres are like that I ordered were that and churros.
They were
So
good too.
I wanted it to be like a theme park food, and that's what I did. And I did not even get to try any of that because that's what happens when you're the bride of the day. You don't get to pay or try the food that you paid for.
Yep.
But I really want to try. So I see it trending all of the time, and it's like this like fancy goat cheese with like crushed up blackberries on like a grilled cheese, and it just sounds really good. And I have probably like 5 videos of them saved with the intention every time I go to the grocery store, I'm like, I'm gonna make this grilled cheese, and I forget every time. So I would really, when I try it, or when I try it eventually, I will let you guys know how it is.
You know
But
what
that
is? I've tried that. It is, well, kind of. This is because of the movie Alone, and
Oh,
Dr. Chilton or Anthony Held, I think he's
yeah.
in that, and he's talking about his goat cheese and honey sandwich, and I was like,
It's goat cheese and honey is one of my favorite things
it's
to
so
like
good.
it.
So I got like an English muffin and then goat cheese with blueberries. I think mine were, and then I
Ooh.
put honey on it. It's so fucking good.
Okay, well now
Oh,
I'm even
dang.
more
Yeah.
enticed because fruit and cheese, as we know, goes
Goes together
real well.
well. It
I
does.
love
And
an apple and a slice of brie. Love
you
that
know,
shit.
piece of pie without cheese is like a hug without a squeeze.
Okay, that's
Quote
a thing.
fire starter.
So you are one, or have you had that? Like, because
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never had that before.
You've never had apple pie with cheese on it?
No, I like. I remember learning the thing
Ice
and being
cream.
like, yeah, ice cream, vanilla
Well,
ice cream, but
yeah.
is it cheddar cheese?
Usually, typically.
Yeah, like sharp
Okay.
cheddar, I think.
Because
Yeah.
it's like, just because sharp cheddar is like, okay, I can see that. I'd like to try that one
It's
day.
good,
I wonder,
yeah.
like, okay, I'll put that on my list too.
My mom used to cut like pieces of apple and then eat an apple straight with cheese, and
Yeah, me
you
too.
know.
Mhm.
But tomato is technically a fruit, I
It really
believe.
is. Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking
It's
about
the
a fruity
seeds.
soup with
Mhm.
our grilled cheese.
Or my little fruity grilled cheese. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
fruity.
little fruity
Yeah.
gals.
I think I used to work at the food company, which is like this little kind of frou-frou Whole Foods knockoff kind of food counter
Okay.
thing, and we had really, really good tomato basil soup that was just we always had it. That we
Panera's
had
is so
that,
good.
and then it was kind of like Panera's.
Mhm.
I think it was better than Panera's, but
Well, Mike calls it cafeteria food, and like I get it, like it is, but I crave it a
is,
lot. Yeah.
but it's I mean some cafeteria food
Decent
is good.
cafeteria food.
When I was teaching, my friend Kara would ask seriously if she could come on pizza day to get that square pizza, that they
Oh,
serve in
yeah.
school.
I love that. I
I
still
was
crave
like,
that with a
I
carton of
think you
milk
might get
sometimes.
arrested if you do that, but
Yeah. I have
but
no kids and I'm here.
but give me the pizza.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I used to make that a lot, and I would rather. Okay, before we started recording, we were talking about how we would rather poke our eyes out or light ourselves on fire before we watch the show with Demi and Dakota. So there's more Secret Lives of Mormon Wives content. I would rather light myself on fire than eat American cheese or touch American cheese. Really,
I'm not a big American cheese gal either.
it is not real food. I'm sorry. It feels
It's like bologna.
It's fair. Yeah.
It's
Like
sorry.
a Kraft single just is like even
Chemicals.
me, okay? Yeah, like
My
who
first
is-
husband used to
eats
want me to
garbage.
make American cheese with cream cheese, grilled cheeses for him, and it
there you
was
go.
Oh, his
disgusting.
tummy
lot.
probably hurt all the time.
Well, and it's
smells.
Yeah.
My
I mean,
tummy's
and
gurgling just thinking about it.
yep, it because that dairy it will tear your
It'll
stomach
get
up.
you.
And it's got to
And
come
not
out
very Maine.
somehow.
It's,
Yeah.
it's,
Woo. But so we used to use. I believe it was provolone, and that was
I like
really
provolone, too.
good. Yeah,
I'm
so
a big
I was
turkey provolone gal at Jersey Mike's.
and grilled cheese is one of the few sandwiches I like because it's toasted. It's toasted
Because we
cooked.
don't like wet bread.
We don't like wet bread.
We like hard
Yep.
boner bread. No soft bread over
And
here.
see, that's the thing. I like tomato slices. Like we have this food truck in Nashville
too.
called the Grilled Cheesery that is really good.
Ooh.
And they have like, bacon grilled cheese or like, probably goat cheese ones too. And they'll put tomato in it. And that is really good. But it runs the risk of making my bread soggy.
soft, and we can't have that.
We cannot
I
have
like
it.
just
So.
pieces of tomato with salt and pepper on top of them, like the heirloom tomatoes. I'll just fucking put those back.
Dude. Just
Like-
sprinkle a little bit of olive oil and salt on it. Oh, so good.
No.
My dad hated tomatoes. Now you either love them or you hate them.
Yeah.
I really
Nope.
do think.
I like it.
Yeah,
Tomato soup is about as far as I go, and salsa maybe.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, I'll
Ketchup?
eat like
Yeah,
Like, you know when you
ketchup.
slice
I just don't like
tomatoes
them raw and
well,
fresh.
yes,
It's the texture. I
ketchup
don't
is
like
more
it.
sugar than tomatoes is
You
the
like
reason
smashed
I like it.
tomatoes.
But,
Yeah.
like, I like, you know, when you slice the tomatoes for the hamburgers and you've got those 2 ends, I would always run around and eat the ends of them 'cause
Yeah.
they're so
Oh,
good.
same.
So
I'm like
delicious.
my go-to snack when I was like in school and I would come home from school was like cut up cucumbers and tomatoes and I would just
Mm.
put them back,
Mhm.
man.
So
Like
good, yeah.
good snack, you know. There are far worse things to eat.
My friend handed
That's
me a
true.
cucumber at work the other day. She's like, "My dad got it," and I was just eating it like an apple.
Oh, me
Like, it was
too. Oh,
just
that's my niece does that
so
too.
good. Mm.
It's like it's my because I'm a pickle bitch, you know.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Me too.
yeah,
This is just like an
I
a
drink the pickle
pre-pickle.
juice, man. A
Pre-pickle.
pre-pickle.
Well, it is
Oh,
Eat the
man.
Rich month, so we
Yeah.
did have to talk. But as
I'm
she was
hungry now.
slicing that tomato, and I was like, "You're putting that tomato on your grilled cheese, aren't you?" She could have been making soup, but it doesn't matter because she's dead. Who
Yes.
am I talking about? So let's find out in our first category, her story.
I am so much happier now that I'm dead. Technically missing. Soon to be presumed dead. Gone. And my lazy, lying, cheating, oblivious husband will go to prison for my murder.
This is a section where we tell the story of the film. Spoilers abound, so listen to your own risk. The film opens with an asshole on a private plane. It's Dennis Reynolds, but the rich version. While he's being a light dick to the flight attendant, a man stumbles out from the back of the plane. He's not supposed to be awake, and the passengers fight with him until a woman named Athena stabs him in the eye with her high heel. They drag him back to a compartment on the plane where he wakes up next to Emma Roberts. I'm sorry, he falls asleep next to a sleeping Emma Roberts. That's right. A bleach blonde Emma Roberts. They eventually find a crate filled with. Hold on, I just skipped a whole thing. The next day, I've been eating too many rich people.
It's
I
that
think
kind
that's
of
the
day,
problem.
man.
It is,
Yeah,
man. It is that kind of day.
It's
Yes,
the end
this
of
is
tax
going to
season
drop.
for
I think
her. Give her a
post tax
break.
season, but we're
Yeah.
recording mid tax season.
Mhm.
Okay, so the next day, Emma Roberts wakes up in the woods. She has no idea where she is and sees a bunch of other people running around in confusion. They eventually find a crate filled with weapons and the clothes-wearing pig. That's when they realize they're part of Manorgate, a rumored elite vacation where rich people kidnap regular people and hunt them on the grounds of the fancy manor. The group slowly dies in gruesome ways, and I kept wanting to get attached to these characters, and then they kept dying.
No,
Bliss.
Going up and yeah.
I really liked a lot. Until a few survivors find a gas station. Amy Madigan and her husband, the gas station owners, tell them that they're in Arkansas. But we soon realize that Amy Madigan and her husband are not only in on it, they are in radio contact with Athena. And the way I said, Amy Madigan, no!
Oscar winning. Amy
Yes.
Madigan.
I mean,
Oscar
honestly,
winner
Aunt
Amy
Gladys
Madigan.
would have like slayed everybody in this movie.
Oh, seriously.
Like she'd just be behind the gas station, like breaking sticks, and everyone like Ike Barinholtz. They'd all be just fucked. Everybody.
Yes. I'm a huge fan of Field of Dreams, and that's Corey's favorite movie, so we've watched it a bunch. And
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's so good. But she has this rant at a PTO meeting about banning books, and she starts yelling about Hitler and like yelling at people in the aisles, and then she walks out with Kevin Costner, and she's like, "Yeah!" And it's my favorite Amy Madigan moment.
I'm a
except
big
for
Uncle Buck
all of
gal
Weapons.
myself. Like
She's great in Uncle
that's
Buck
my
too.
favorite. That's the only really thing I watched her in as a kid. Like she was always Uncle Buck's girlfriend.
You got to watch Field of Dreams is
I
really
got
good,
it,
and she's
man.
good in Field of Dreams too. Though, and
Put
then,
that on the
you
list
know.
with my grilled cheese.
Yes, exactly. It is a good grilled cheese movie.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
know, I imagine baseball and then apple pie with some cheese on it. That's gonna
Oh
be
yes,
perfect.
it's very
more
apple
American than
pie,
that.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Oh,
really
the
does.
distance. I'm just going to whisper all
I'd
the
have to
stuff
start
that they say.
firing guns if it was going to be any
Well,
more American.
perfect for this movie.
Exactly.
Yes. So after a gas station bloodbath, a woman Athena calls Snowball, she's Betty Gilpin, arrives at the gas station and susses out their lies before killing Amy Madigan and her husband. I think her name in the movie is actually Ma, but she's Amy Madigan to me.
Mom and Pa.
Ma
And
and
they
Pa,
don't
yeah.
really have accents. They
No,
just-
they don't.
No, they don't.
It's like, oh, break my heart. So Snowball finds a couple more survivors and hops a train that turns out to be filled with refugees. When the train is stopped by a foreign military, she figures out that they're in Croatia. Don has also been captured by the military. He's one of the people being hunted, and they arrange to be taken to the U.S. Embassy. only to find out that the guy they've trusted to save them is one of the manor hunters. I'm collapsing a whole bunch of chaos. But
Yes.
they're all running
Yeah.
around trying not to die, and people turn out to be hunters. It's
You're
surprising
giving
and
them
gory.
the gist. Like, we're
Right,
not
thank
here
you.
for a full
Yeah.
play-by-play. Okay,
That's
guys?
true, yes.
Did you watch the movie?
Exactly, yeah.
I would love to know if people do that. Like, I would love to
'Cause-
know that. Please let me know if you do that.
Yeah, I would like to hear that too, because I've listened to podcasts where they give synopsises, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't listen to them. And you know, so anyways, just let us know.
So
listeners,
you've done that, yeah. So
have.
Jen does it. So do you guys do it? Because I would like
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah. Although I will say it's easier when I have seen the movie, which is why
Yes.
we tell you what we're going to watch next week, so we have
Because
time.
spoilers are abound in this.
The spoilers
show.
abound. They
Okay, yes.
absolutely abound.
They be bound in here. So just be prepared for that.
I stole that from a site called Television Without Pity that I used to read religiously. And it was like
Aw.
funny recaps like back 10 years ago. So shout
Well,
out to
now
them.
it lives here. Yeah.
It does. It lives forever. Yes.
Yes.
So Snowball kills the manor hunter and finds a map that leads her to the rest of the hunters' hideout. She kills them and makes contact with Athena through the radio. Dawn helps a little bit, but Athena convinces Snowball that he's one of the manor people, and she kills him too. Flashback to 8 months ago. We revisit a text thread. It actually opens the movie, but I figured it would be too difficult to explain. So this text thread with Athena and her hunter friends who were on the plane, joking about killing deplorables at the manor. We learn that Athena is a CEO of a large business company and had to step down for her part in the thread. Although she swears it was just a joke and can't believe people actually took her seriously. Looks like it was actually a joke.
Because this
But
is the first time.
Exactly. And we'll talk about it. But she and her fellow thread friends are so angry over losing their jobs that they decide to do Manorgate for real. They've handpicked all of the people they're planning to kidnap based on their internet history and general score on the asshole scale. Back in the present, Snowball, aka Crystal, listens to Athena monologue about why she and her friends did this. But it turns out they made a mistake, lady.
I
They
got
got
the same crystal.
I ain't
I
that
get her
crystal.
mail.
Here's another crystal. They got the wrong crystal from Mississippi, and that's why this crystal has such advanced survival skills. Athena and Crystal fight to the death, and it's awesome. After fully destroying the house and agreeing no more glass, which I loved that moment. I was like, that's what women do when they fight each other, you know?
It's very like Beatrix Kiddo against
Oh,
Orenishi.
1000%.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. I was thinking that, and I was also thinking her and who's the
Vivica
guy?
Fox's
Elle Driver.
character. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Elle Driver. Okay, yeah, no, I can see that. Basically, all of her fights with
Exactly,
women,
yeah. Because
essentially.
they're all women. And listeners,
Yep.
we have a whole series on that, so go check it out. Those were
Whoops.
fun. So they fight to the death. After fully destroying the house, they end up mutually stabbing each other, and Athena dies on the floor. Though Crystal is badly injured, she gets up, puts on one of Athena's dresses, and boards her private jet. She asks to be taken back home and invites the flight attendant to sit down and share the caviar, which is why I started this episode by talking about caviar. So. All right, Sammy, I believe you suggested this one. What is your story with the Huns?
did. So I loved this movie when I saw it. As we know, it was kind of shrouded in controversy, not only because of the content in it, but because it was originally supposed to come out in September of 2019. And then they moved it to March of 2020. And it was the last movie in theaters before the pandemic hit. It was actually the last movie Mike saw in theaters when the pandemic hit. And he really loved it. And I couldn't go with him because I was still working at the dog daycare because the world hadn't ended yet. And I wasn't at home as frequently. And I remember him telling me how much he liked it and how, from what I can gather, like, some of the other critics were very upset about how it portrayed our party, if you will. And he was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. Like, I can't talk about this. And so I just remember, going into it, knowing that we were really split on the content, but not knowing why. Like, he didn't give me any, like, spoilers or anything like that, like here. So I went in blind, and I absolutely loved it. You know how I feel about a 90-minute movie. That's my fucking shit. And when I
And
see
this
that
one
time,
feels
I'm
like 60
yes.
minutes too. Like
Yes,
it
Yeah, it
it's
flies
flies.
so
by. Yeah.
fast. Like, and that's not to say that like there's no like crazy, aside from the rabbit or the hare and the tortoise kind of monologue, like there's not a ton of script, it's pretty like
Mm-mm.
cut and dry, but I
Mhm.
don't mind that at all. Like we're right into the action and everyone feels really fleshed out even though no one has names. Like you kind of even the people you get for 2 seconds, you get a sense of who they are.
Mhm.
I was totally in shock when Emma Roberts died. Like, because
Me too.
I'm an Emma Roberts girly. Like, her controversies aside, I grew up
Yeah.
watching Unfabulous on Nickelodeon, and then I have American Horror Story Coven. Her character is Madison Montgomery is one of my favorite characters, and I love Scream Queens. So like, I've just watched her all my life. So
Scream
I was like,
4. I'm a big fan.
yes, exactly. I cannot wait until we cover that.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
I'm more lady killers in the Scream franchise than men at this point, I think, which is
Seriously.
interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I was really into it. I think it's interesting watching this again now, knowing what we know about the
Yep.
world.
Mhm.
I think it's absolutely insane that it's 6 years later and we've essentially confirmed that things like this are happening, maybe not to this extent, but evil shit's going on. And when I watched this, I remember thinking it was really, really far fetched. And now I'm like, nope, it's not.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
really not that far fetched.
Yeah, I think the
And
politics of this movie have aged pretty well too.
It's
oh,
really
I agree.
interesting.
I
Yeah.
think
Interesting.
everyone should watch this movie
I
a
do
little
too.
bit. It's
Mhm.
interesting because so right now I said off mic we don't have a show that we're really watching, and I've just been watching reruns of American Dad, and I was really into American Dad as a kid. Like I've seen every episode up until like now, like the last couple of years, and I hate to say it, but unfortunately I am a Seth MacFarlane fan. I
Mm.
grew up watching his
Same.
stuff,
I was a
so
big Family Guy fan.
I was too. I've seen all his movies. I loved the new season of Ted. It was so fucking good. But American Dad is like one of the first instances of a show that I watched where it had like an ultra conservative character and like the daughter's really liberal, kind of like All in the Family type
Yeah.
of situation, but animated. And
Mhm.
so as we've been watching it, I'm like, oh, this was kind of like my first experience with someone poking fun at both parties.
Mhm.
And I think that both parties deserve to be poked fun at, and
Mhm.
some people don't like that.
Yep.
So, I know we're going to talk a lot about that as we go on. I did want to say how much I love Betty Gilpin. I was a really big Glow fan. I was devastated
Same.
Same.
when it was
Love
canceled.
Glow.
I knew you
know.
guys would be Glow
Ugh.
fans. I was like, I've never talked about it because it was so long ago that it came out, and I was like, I wonder if they liked Glow.
Oh yeah,
Ugh,
loved it.
That checks
fucking
out.
loved it.
Yes, was a
Mhm.
huge fan. I think she is just like so hot. Like
Mhm.
just there's something, especially in this movie, like she's so in control, and that outfit, even though she's like really covered up, it's still like very. I don't know. It's sexy, and she's just a bad bitch, and I love
Mhm.
that. I love a bad bitch. So, yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this one with you guys, and I'm so glad that you liked it because this was a first timer over here.
It was, yes. I was a hunt newbie here, a hunt the
Mhm.
movie newbie. Of course, I've hunted on islands millions of times before.
Of course.
I'm kidding. I'm
As
kidding
one
for the
does,
record.
as one
Yes.
does.
Well, Rachel, what's your story for the hunt? This was not a first watch for you, right?
No, I saw it relatively close to when it came out, not in the theater, but I think because of the timing of it all,
Yeah.
things like dropped, PVOD like really quickly.
Mhm.
So that's how I watched it and found it. I really liked it. I love Betty Gilpin as well and cannot wait to talk about her more. I thought it was really an interesting movie, but yeah, watching it now 6 years later, it's even more interesting
Yeah.
for different reasons, some of the same reasons. And I'm kind of undecided on where I fall with some of that stuff, but I knew it would be okay because that's why we're here. We're going to talk about it. And so we'll see where I land at the end of it, how I feel about it. I do think that the time difference between it makes it feel like this is a satire, obviously,
Yeah.
and it's poking fun at all that. But in some ways, like because of everything that's happened in the last 6 years, it's like I don't know if I enjoy it as much
Yeah.
because it's like,
because
this
it's
is
real.
all so tiring.
Yeah,
Like, this is what
yes.
we've been doing for the last 6 years. Like, I'm exhausted. I need a nap.
Mhm.
So I think that that's kind of interesting. Just like, oh yeah, this is not quite as like implausible, I think, as when I
Yeah.
first saw it.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
where we are now. But it's a lot of fun, and there's so much fun stuff. And some of the character choices I think are just really fascinating and interesting.
Mhm.
I don't think this is a particularly like eloquent examination
No.
of class and stuff. Like, that's not what this is, but it's also not trying to be. And it's so I
Yeah.
think that for it succeeds at what it's trying to do in a
Mhm.
lot of ways. And yeah, I can't believe you haven't seen this before, Jen.
I
It's like,
know. It
I don't
feels
know,
like a
it's
Jen
surprising.
movie.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It definitely is a Jen movie in a lot of ways. And I think I actively avoided this for a long time. Because in the trailers, there is a light trigger for me, something that I don't really talk about, but it bothers me. It doesn't bother me nearly as much as it did when this movie came out, but I remember seeing that in the trailer and I was like, good. Nope,
Yep.
I'm going to skip this.
Mhm.
And then I just kind of forgot about it because I feel like it kind of fell off the radar, you
Oh,
know?
totally.
Yeah.
And so then, and I was kind of looking forward to watching it, although wary because that trigger is in the movie, but not
Yeah.
nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. So it was fine. I'm fine. And I also like, if it was that big of an issue for me, I would have said, I don't.
I
wanna
hope.
do
Yeah.
this.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
please.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, and I definitely feel
watch this
comfortable doing that. So
movie.
just all that to say, nobody worry about me. I'm fine. You know,
Okay.
it was okay. But that's why I avoided it for so long, even though I knew it was women fighting and it was definitely
Yeah.
going to be my jam. But I'm kind of glad that I didn't watch it back then because I remember everybody getting all up in arms and pearl clutchy about it. And I didn't totally understand what it was about. It kind of reminds me of Promising Young Woman, which I did not watch until a year later. Justin and I have talked
Let
about
it
this a
die
lot.
down. Like
That's
it's like
yep.
I want my
I
own
found that that's
opinion.
my best way to watch Emerald
Yeah.
Fennell
Yep.
movies is like
I
when
haven't
nobody's
watched
talking about
Wuthering
them anymore.
Heights yet because
I
I'm
haven't
like
either.
I don't
I haven't
want to.
either.
I'm just
I-
waiting
I-
because like I liked Saltburn like a lot.
I did too, yeah.
And
Mhm.
but I remember I don't have fun when it's like when there's
I don't
so much
either.
controversy. Like I don't because then it's like you feel like you can't say your opinion on it or you're a bad person for liking fake fictional movies. Like
I know.
so,
And I was like, I
it's-
just like, can we calm down? And
I
you know,
know.
I'm also not one to shame people for getting into the discourse, but those just sometimes it just
Not worth
spins
it.
It's a
a
lot
little too
sometimes,
much. And I
yeah.
was like, no, I don't want to.
Sometimes as what we will talk about in this movie, we're overreacting to things that don't matter. You know what I mean?
Well, and
Like
that's the thing.
every
I was
day.
like, now that I
Yes.
know what that twist was, because what I didn't say in the synopsis really is that it turns out they're like leftist elites. You know,
Yes.
they're not MAGA billionaires. They are people that we would say they're like the people that would say I would have voted for Obama a third time if I
Oh,
could
they're
have,
like the
you
Get
know?
Out couple. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And I
Yes.
think people just saw themselves and didn't like it. And I also think it's really I'm glad we're talking about it now
Yep.
because we are so far away from an
Yeah.
election that we can talk about this conceptually without talking about specific people because we probably are going to get into a little bit of politics, like not too deep, but that's what the movie's about.
That's what
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what
the
movie
plot. It's a
is.
major
Yeah.
plot point.
Right.
So,
And I think, you know, the Democratic Party needs to do some soul searching and some revamping right now. And I like
Yeah.
that we can talk about it right now without aligning that to one person who is kind of
Yes.
a front runner, you know? So yeah, so I really like this. This was awesome. I loved the ending of it. It's
Yeah.
really fun. Betty Gilpin's Southern accent is pretty good too.
I think
It's,
so too. Like
yeah,
I believe it.
yeah. So yeah, that's my story with The Hunt. I could see myself putting this on again. I loved how there were so many faces that I knew at the beginning and then they were dead.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, that's great.
Pretty
Like,
quick.
I thought it was going to be Emma Roberts' movie, you
Me
know,
too.
because she
I
was
think we
so
all did.
prominent in
In the
the
trailer.
trailer.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
I was
the-
like, I'm going for her is
It's
why
the
I
Yeah.
Drew
went.
Barrymore thing, right?
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But then I also would hear everybody talking about Betty Gilpin. And I was like, well, she's not really like what's going so anyways, it was a roller coaster. I thought it was really funny and gory and fun. And it's a fucking badass woman. So who is that badass woman? And also there's a lot of meat on the bone too. So really
Yeah.
excited to dig into this tomato grilled cheese.
Yeah.
Let's do that in our next category. Who is she?
I just wish we could all get along like we used to in middle school. I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles, and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
All right. So I also love Hilary Swank. I feel like she would have fit in with the Glow crowd, you know?
But is she hot?
Is
You
she
know?
hot? Yes.
Is she hot?
Is she
Like,
hot or not?
The age-old
listeners weigh in.
question.
Office.
Yes, like
Yes,
I can't
yes.
see her now without thinking of that episode. Like it
I
is
can't.
just-
I know. I think about that too.
it's
Yeah, because
entrenched
it's
in me.
is she hot or do you want to date her?
Yeah,
Are
yes.
different questions.
Yes.
And I said
If
date
you're saying
because
she's not hot, then I'm not hot.
oh, such a good episode.
Love
One of
Kelly.
the better later episodes because
Yes, agreed. It's like
pretty
season
much-
5. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like that's when shit starts to hit the fan a little bit. So
it is.
I
yeah,
still enjoy
I
that
pretend
one.
it ends when Michael leaves, except for the Poluticorn episode. Poluticorn and
Yes.
Recyclops.
Yeah, I love
I love
Recyclops.
Recyclops.
Very funny.
So good.
Men can be funny sometimes. It turns out, you know.
Sometimes they should have podcasts, just not all of them, you know?
Yeah, you know. Oh my God. When the guy said, look, I have a podcast, I was like,
yeah.
loved
Yeah.
it.
I was like, we know you do.
I felt
Of course
seen.
you
I
do.
know.
There are many of you.
So they have so we've got Athena, and that is Hilary Swank. And then we have Snowball, aka Crystal, who is Betty Gilpin. And then Ma, Amy Madigan, because she's a killer too. She poisons those donuts. And I also love when she's like, it's poison, it's got sugar. Like this is, I think,
High
just a
fructose corn
well-written
syrup
movie.
is a, you
Mhm.
know, is a major killer.
It's a silent killer.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and then victims, everybody but Crystal and the flight crew. And then I shouted out a couple of people that I wanted to talk about. I love Ike Barinholtz, and I
Mhm,
thought
I do
he
too.
was going to be our hero for a little bit. And then he's like, I got 7 guns. And I was like, uh-oh.
Also, like, you don't really know until you're like pretty in it that they are the bad guys too, you know?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Well,
there's
that's
no-
my overarching question. Who is the hero and who is the
Yeah,
villain here? And
certainly
do those
something to
things
think
exist
about.
in this world, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's really fun. I've listened to him on a couple of podcasts before too, and he just seems like a cool guy.
I was a big Mad TV kid, so that was the first time I ever saw him, and I've just followed his career ever since. He's really good at the studio, the Seth Rogen show.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I highly suggest it if you haven't watched it. It's so fucking good.
It's Catherine O'Hara too, right?
Yes, yes, and she's still
Everybody's
a
in
character.
it,
It's so
yeah.
sad. Yeah, yes.
And then we have Emma Roberts, which we've already talked about. Just wanted to shout her out one more time because I like her, and she just has this look of like sweet and innocent, but you know she's probably bad.
A
You
bit
know?
of a crazy gal.
Yeah, she
yes.
plays. Let's just say, I think her Scream 4 role was perfectly cast, and
Yeah.
that was a hell of a coming out role. You know,
She's a messy gal, and I love.
she's a messy gal.
Unfortunately, love a messy gal. So
Also a huge Evan Peters fan who we talked about in our last episode. And I
Mhm.
remember when they were dating, and I know that did not end well, and that's
it
a whole
certainly
other
did not.
thing. But I remember when they were together, and I was like, well, that's sweet.
So cute because they're
Evan
both
Peters-
an American Horror Story.
They
too. It's like,
are.
it's an American love story, and then it
Oh,
wasn't.
And then it wasn't, although maybe an upcoming season.
Yeah,
Evan
well,
Peters
I
could
hear
play
we're getting
himself.
Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. That's
That's
kinda
what I hear.
That's
Yeah,
the,
and then
the scuttlebutt.
and then on our latest Losers Club episode, Mike posited that the 3rd season should be Tabitha and Stephen King. So I think
like
Jacob
I'd
Elordi to
watch
play
that.
Stephen King, of
Of
course.
Of course.
Because we're talking about Ryan Murphy, you know.
Mhm.
Oh,
Anyways.
my God.
I mean, would you not watch the fuck out of that,
would be
though? That would be
Yes,
incredible.
Yes, I would.
No, it's gonna be Lewis
okay.
Pullman. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
that.
yes. Uh-huh.
they already
Hashtag not
cast
my
him
Ben
as-
Mears.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Like he's already basically played Stephen King since that character is just his best version of himself.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and definitely better than James McAvoy, too, as
Oh, yeah.
at chapter 2, you know.
Yeah. Man.
Mm. Anyways,
Agreed.
check out the Losers Club for lots more of our thoughts on that. Okay, we got to talk about Glenn Howerton. Man, I fucking love him
He's
so
just
much.
playing
Do y'all-
Dennis.
He
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Okay, do y'all watch It's Always Sunny?
Oh,
I've
it's
seen
one of my favorite
a
shows.
chunk of it. A
Yeah,
good
I've
chunk.
seen-
not
we-
everything.
It's hard to. Okay, did y'all ever watch Aqua Teen Hunger Force? Do you know that show?
Unfortunately,
really.
I used to in high school exclusively have sex with my boyfriend while that played in the background.
Ah, okay.
So
As
now
one
I
does.
get it.
I hear meat wad, it's like
Uh-huh.
Pavlovian. And I'm like, oh, it's time to have sex.
It's time to have sex, yes.
So Aqua
That's
Teen Hunger Force makes me horny, so I
as the
can't.
creator intended, I think.
Yes, yeah. So you can put that in your Sammy Lore box, and you can have
Yeah.
that.
The
But
Pavlovian
yes,
response.
to answer your question, I've seen it.
Yeah. So, anyways, the reason I brought it up is because we used to, my pothead friends and I would get together. I say that because I smoked occasionally, you know, but they would get real high and watch Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and then we would just marathon it all day. And then by the end of the day, we would be like, I don't think this is a good show to binge. Like it just
Like
it
you have
pulls
to,
you into a world. It makes you feel
Yes.
real weird.
It's
you know?
loud too. Like so, like when a show is only 22 minutes and you're constantly listening to the theme song over
Oh,
and
yes.
over again, and It's Always Sunny has a really loud theme song.
It is.
It's a lot. It's a lot of yelling too. Yeah, and I love it. Don't get me wrong; it's stuck in my head
Yeah.
all the time. But late at night after 10 episodes, you're like, okay, I'm done. You know.
Well, and that's the thing with It's Always Sunny. It's like they're just such bad people, and that's what I love about it. But
too.
I have burned myself out on it. You know,
Yeah.
like I need a little bit of light in the
Mhm.
world. But Glenn Howerton, like I love that show so much. I love watching the bloopers on Instagram or I
too.
guess TikTok if you're nasty, you know. But I love that they're all kind of branching out and doing their thing. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna fucking see the Mario movie this weekend.
Oh,
Send me
I'm
here
seeing my
Charlie
nieces this
Day's
weekend, and
Voice.
my sister's already positive. She's like, "Do you want to go to the drive-in and see Mario?" And I was like, "Well, I was gonna make Mike take me anyways." So
Right.
I hear it's real bad, guys, but I don't care.
I
I
am
just
sure
wanna
it probably will be, but
take
it
my
also will
slot.
play in my house for till the end of time, like the first one
Yes.
did. So
yes.
you know,
So
yeah, that's what happens when you have kids. So
Hoppers is the better animated movie. And I can already tell you that. And I haven't seen Super Mario Galaxy yet. But that is my favorite of the Mario games. So I'm like,
Oh, yeah?
man, you butchered my favorite game. Yes.
Well, it's
yeah,
got
it has the
Yoshi
best
in it.
music. Yeah, and
that's
I
what my
love
kids are really
Yoshi.
excited about is
Yes.
this Yoshi appearance.
And Yoshi
so.
can talk, I guess. So we'll see what he has
Oh.
to say. Yeah.
Okay,
I
and we
think,
also
I'm
got
pretty
in this
sure.
big because I just went to Mario World at Universal, and we had this big conversation because I thought Yoshi was just Yoshi, like a singular being.
Oh no, there
named
are
Yoshi.
pink, there's
I know,
there's
and
blue.
because
Wait, what?
my
Yeah,
kid
there
got
are multiple Yoshis.
well, my kid got a headband, kind of like your ears, but it was
Yeah.
Yoshi just on their head, and they were like, "What should I name my Yoshi?" And I was like, "Yoshi," and she's like, "That's like naming your cat, and
I
it
did not
blew
know
my
that.
mind.
It's the
I
breed.
was like,
I'm loving like because
What?
I also have a Universal season pass, so I never go into the Mario Land because I get super overstimulated in
It
there.
is a
It's
lot.
fucking the worst. Like, and I
Mhm.
love Mario, but it's basically like Toontown and Disneyland, where it's just like, get me out of here. Like,
Yeah.
I just like my
A little time goes a long way.
Yes,
you know.
and you can never get into the Toad restaurant, so I'll never be able
Oh.
to taste the Toad restaurant.
Dude, I had a caprese salad made like a piranha plant, and I had to order it through a fucking app, but it was good.
I've been wanting to go there so bad, and every time we get, and it's like it's booked up. It's booked up.
Yeah.
But yes,
Also, Donkey Kong roller coaster was awesome too. So
see, we don't have that, and there's only one ride in our Mario Land, so that ride is just like the line
Constantly
is
busy.
insane. Yes, but during fan nights, we got to hunt for eggs, and so I hunted for eggs, and I made this headband. I had all of the eggs on them, and then you
Oh.
get to wait in a 2-hour line to meet all of the Yoshis.
Okay.
Yeah, that's your prize is waiting. It's great.
Well,
yeah,
welcome back to Mario podcast.
yeah. Sorry, guys.
no. I started it, but because it's related to It's Always Sunny. Glenn Howerton, he's great. I love seeing him show up because he's just. You look at him for 2 seconds and you're like, that guy's an asshole.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
that's a dick.
And
Yep.
exactly, yes, because of the implication. You know.
Mhm.
Okay, and then we also have Ethan Suplee, who I've seen in some other. He's Hey, It's That Guy, and the
Yeah.
reason I wanted to mention him is because his name is Gary, but on Instagram or not Instagram, on IMDb, he's listed as "Shut the fuck up, Gary," which I thought was
Love
very
that.
funny,
Love
and
it.
he just plays that role so well.
Mhm.
Anybody else we want to mention? Because there's a lot of people in this.
There are, but they just spend so little time with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
Like,
which
so it's
I
like,
I don't need to know their names.
and they're like the guys that I don't know just look like character actors that you've seen in kind of like NBC shows over the years. Like I the guy that's in the train with them, like I know I've seen him and stuff,
Yeah,
but I'm
me
like,
too.
what have I seen you in? You know, so
Mhm.
I couldn't name them if I wanted to.
But I think it's very well cast, I will
Yeah.
say
Yes.
Oh
also.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like the no names sprinkled in too.
I do
Like
too.
it
Mhm.
makes it feel a little more real.
Yeah,
Even
like,
though
if
we
you
don't need
look,
that.
the lady who kept falling in the pit, she's, like, dead sexy, I think is what her name is, you
That's
know?
funny.
And I was like,
We
"Great." And
fell into the pit. I'm not
I
that song.
fell into the pit.
It's such a banger. Hey,
It
Chris
it
Pratt, back
is,
to
it gets
Mario.
stuck in your
But
head, yeah.
it's
Ugh.
Mario.
Uh
Oh man.
Ooh, okay. Let's talk about motive. Politics, the internet, revenge, karma, we shall discuss. There's a
Mhm.
lot. There's a lot and not a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
complex and simple at the same time, which I love. Okay, and then our weapons. I am sure I'm missing something. Guns, grenades. I love when he stuck that grenade down that dude's pants. I was like, well, that's
Yes, it was very
nice.
good. Took him a while too to get like
Yeah, so
he
we got to
he
see the
probably could
weight
have
of
gotten
the
it out of his
horror.
Just
pants.
shaking up a
Yeah.
leg.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was like
Yes.
you had ample time to get that
Yep.
out of there.
But that's an idiot for you, you know?
Mhm.
Cars, knives, glass, hand to hand combat. Okay, and I wanted to ask because we also use a champagne bottle as a weapon, or
Mhm.
we try to, and then we try to save the champagne bottle because it's apparently very expensive. Rachel, is the flight attendant a villain?
Yeah. Interesting question. I don't know if villain is the right word, but is she culpable? Is she responsible? Does she have any responsibility for what's happening here? I mean, I would say yes, because here's the thing. What we learn later, has anything like this happened before? Probably, we would guess no, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the fact is, after that first flight where we see the guy come out and they kill him because he wakes up too early, after that, we also see her return to the job to pick up Crystal at the
Mhm.
end. And so I think that's where it's like, well, the whole silence is complicity kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that. It's like she didn't, I would imagine it's like, okay, you saw this thing. You can't really do anything when you're flying. I don't know how high planes go, like very high in the
Me
air.
neither.
But like once you land and are back home or like at your base or something, you would think I'd be like, you know what? I quit.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Yeah.
not for me.
I quit.
I quit. And she
Mhm.
doesn't. Apparently, she still comes back and is still employed there. So I don't know if she's a villain, but I don't think her conscience is completely clean. I will say that. She could have done something after the fact once she knew kind of what was going on, and she didn't, as far as we
Yeah.
know.
Sammy, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think she was like, "Hey guys, I'm really looking to be a stewardess for a group of elite hunters,"
Yeah.
like hunting people for sport. Like, I don't think there was like an Indeed page that she went to and was like, I'm, sent her resume in or anything like that.
Mhm.
So I imagine she was like sought out and maybe went through like interviews for the jobs to see how well they could trust her.
Mhm.
And I'm unsure, if she was told the specifics, but there is that look of knowing in the end. Plus, like the whole beginning, with the man taking, waking up, like she knows that they're there. Like she has to have an idea of what's going on.
Mhm.
But I think there are probably thousands of people just like her doing things for money they turn a blind eye to, probably right now in this second, maybe even in the millions at this point.
Yeah.
So she's
Yep.
not like a character that we don't experience here in life, I guess. And who knows how she got into the situation. Maybe she was blackmailed, maybe like she was set up, or like also, can you leave these jobs? Like so many, of these
Oh, yeah.
situations, they could track you down. Like I'd be terrified. I'd be like, "Oh, I can't quit this job. They kill people, and I know
Mhm.
they kill people." So, while I wish she had never, taken the job in the first place, I also don't know the situation enough to put full judgment on this character. But I do agree with you, Rachel. Like she knows. She's aware of what's going on. But I like to tell myself, because like she ends up at the end and it's kind of a cool little exchange at the end, that she's like, I don't like what they're doing. I don't think she approves of what they're doing, but she
No.
certainly isn't doing anything to stop it. But I also think, like, what could you do to stop
Yeah.
this?
Well, and she probably signed, imagine like people like this. It's like
A
before they even talk
non-disclosure
to you, it's like
agreement.
you sign an NDA away, like your
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
And then you're like, what am I supposed to do? That I can't afford to protect myself in any real way.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
you look at, like, these Epstein victims, and so many of them didn't come till they were older, because it's like, you're a kid. Like, you're stuck in these situations, and they're
scary.
big, powerful people. Like,
Yeah.
you could, like, when I was reading the Nobody's Girl, like, there would be just, like, SUVs, like, parked outside of her house in Australia, like, even when she, like, moved out to the boonies, and people flashing their lights and stuff. Like, these people are, they I think they also get off on, like, scaring people a little too.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm giving this girl too much credit, but, like, if I were in this situation, I would be terrified,
Yeah.
and I would want to know as little as possible to
Yeah.
sleep at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and you kind of get that vibe too, where she's like, "It's just champagne." Like,
Yeah.
it's just, and that's a trivial thing about like being on a plane, but it is an attitude of like, "I'm just working here. I don't
Yeah.
exactly know
I
what's
don't
going on."
know. Yeah.
She probably had to sign a non-compete clause too,
Yeah.
which I had to sign one of those, and it's kind of bullshit, but whatever. Which
But
means
she
I
also
couldn't.
says, sorry. She
Oh,
also
you're
says
fine.
that Athena is, like, nice too, where there's, like, that exchange where she's like, "She's nice to me," and Dennis, I'm just gonna call him Dennis,
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, don't say that to her. Don't call her nice." And it's like, so
hmm
I'm like, because Athena is the type of character that wants, people to like her. Like, I imagine she is nice to people that are like-minded,
hmm Yeah.
so perhaps, like, she never gave her a reason, but, like, it doesn't matter if you're nice to people if you're killing people for sport.
Yeah.
That
Okay,
kind of
so
ixnays it.
that's because I wrote this question yesterday, and I didn't know exactly how I felt about it. I'm kind of unpacking this movie. I told you before we started recording, I'm looking forward to it because this is a new watch for me, and there's a lot of competing things in it. And my thoughts kind of changed about this character in the last couple of hours when I opened up my phone and saw the news that another female high government employee has been fired.
Yeah.
And so listeners, you probably could
A
piece
lot of
together who we're
lying.
talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
A lot of
And
lying.
on
And I mean,
oath.
this person definitely deserved to be fired. This person is garbage. But again, it's another woman. And so I've just been thinking about it and seeing some posts about like, you think that proximity to power is going to protect you,
No,
and
no.
it
Fucks
doesn't.
you.
It fucks you. So it's
Yes.
not good for her that she's in this position, because she easily could have been killed in all of this.
Yes.
And Athena's not going to give a fuck, And I think for a while, the first time around, I'm trying not to be too specific. The first time around, I think there was this idea, if I don't do this job, somebody else is going to do it. And at least I can be an adult in the room and
Yeah.
try to oversee. And we've seen that doesn't work. That doesn't actually stop anything.
Mm-mm.
And so I don't know. I think because this is not a real person, if this were my friend, I hear all of the arguments you're saying. She's got to pay her bills. She's probably
Mhm.
going to have a hard time getting a job. She might be blacklisted. She might be killed for quitting her job. But I think conceptually, she is a villain because she's
Yeah.
complicit here,
Yeah.
And so I think I like she's such a small part of the story, but I did want to talk about her because I think she represents, like you said, Sammy, a lot of people who are like, I gotta do my job, and I have to pay my bills. And I completely understand that. I've said that before, but also
Yeah.
we have to think of the larger good. At some point, we have to do what's right,
Yeah.
And
I mean,
yeah,
Crystal doesn't kill her in the end. Crystal
she
doesn't,
doesn't.
like, so
I was
I think,
expecting them to start killing each other,
yeah.
but yeah.
And she sees her as a friend. So I think, like, if Crystal has a nuanced opinion on this, the person that went through the situation and is like, I know it wasn't your decision to do this.
Yeah.
You are just a 22-year-old girl that kind of got mixed up in the wrong, situation. So I think if Crystal is able, like, even though everyone here is fictional, I'm talking about them like they're real people,
Yeah.
which I am one to do.
They
But I
feel
think if
real though,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so I think if she was able to see that and not act on it, and, like, see her as someone that is probably, like, in a similar situation to her, and, like, she's at the mercy of these billionaires. So I think if she's cool with it, then I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't think that she should go to jail, But the
Yeah.
thing that sucks is she probably would be the one to go to jail. like she
Yeah.
would be the person they would blame it on, So, yeah, if you are a flight attendant in this position, just think about that.
You have
They
more
don't care
power
about
than you
you.
think.
Yes, you do. Yeah, and they are not going to protect you. 'Cause they're gonna protect
Whistleblowers are
themselves.
never, rarely, I should say, very rarely, people in power.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're doing whistleblowers on Murder Made Fiction right now, and so we just watched Aaron Brockovich. So I was
Love
just
it.
talking. Yeah, me too. That's fodder for us too. We could
Oh,
cover
for
that at some
sure.
point.
Yeah.
But so I've just been thinking about that. Like, what do we do when should we push back? When do we, as women, have to follow or like have to sit back for our own safety too?
Yeah.
Because you're right. She couldn't just say, "Hey, this is wrong" in the middle of the
No,
plane because
No,
she's
they would
getting
just kill her.
killed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She's
Yeah.
up in the air. Like it's because of the implication you said earlier. Because of the
Yes.
implication.
Well,
They'd
and
also be like,
I-
"Oh, we're down one guy now, so we need where there's a spot open. You want to take it?"
Exactly. Yeah, that's probably what they would do. They would just put her in that compartment. Yeah, and then hunt her too.
But
And
I
that's
don't know because they think they're good people, guys.
Well, yeah, that's the
Remember.
thing.
Good
We don't
people.
know anything about her and what side, quote unquote, she
Yes.
falls on. She's one of the few characters where it's like she's just very ambiguous. We don't know
Yes.
anything about her. Obviously she's not like thrilled dealing with Dennis, obviously.
Not part of the
but-
1%.
Yeah. But we don't know like who she aligns with politically or anything.
Yeah.
So we can't make an assumption about like, well, are you bad? Are you good?
And
Yeah.
We don't know.
It seems like they need them to like they push them to say like racist remarks or like problematic remarks because the killers in the situation need them to be of a certain type of person for them to kill them.
Yeah.
So you can
So
kill
that
them
they can
by just
excuse
egging
it.
them on.
Yeah, they can
Yes.
validate, like, see, oh, well,
Yes.
what we're doing
Yeah,
isn't
justify it
bad
to
because
themselves.
look, yeah.
Yep.
We're not bad people. Yeah.
No.
Which is
Yeah.
why even in the end, Athena's like so freaked out about the switching of the person because it's like she can't accept that maybe this innocent person was here that didn't deserve that because then it's like it's all for naught. Then you really did a bad thing. You can't tell yourself
Exactly.
that you're a hero.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it reminds me too of how we look at people like Usha Vance and Melania. And I'm talking a couple of years ago, and we want to say, they didn't know who their husbands were. They're there. They can't get out. We want to ascribe these like altruistic motivations to them and just see them as trapped in these situations. And turns out they're not. They're there because they want to be there. And so, but it's like we want to see the good in these women because as much as we love a female villain, I want to believe that women are good, and that women want to support other women, and they don't. Not all of them.
Yep.
A lot of them do, but not everybody, which is part of why we exist and what we're talking about just in general. So okay, well, we are going to get in our own PJ, I will say, because I watched Succession. That show was great. Talk about a female villain, by the way. We are going to get in our private jet. It does not have a Mediterranean spread with figs and fish, but it does have caviar. So maybe we'll finally get to try some. We're going to get in loser. We're going killing.
This woman will soon cut, chop, break, and burn 5 men beyond recognition. And there isn't a jury in this country that will convict her.
Okay, let's talk about Athena, Hilary Swank. I wrote down so many things. I try not to get too quote heavy, but this is one of the sections where I did because it's really interesting. So Ma/Amy Madigan says in response to Ike Barinholtz saying it's my constitutional right to have a gun, she says, well, those people that are shooting at you, they're just exercising that same constitutional right, which not really, but I loved that. I was like, yeah, that's why they have guns too,
Yeah.
and it's also that idea of I get to defend myself and protect myself because I am a good person and everybody else.
Well, they're using their argument against them.
It's the circular logic kind of thing. It's just,
rights for me, but not for thee,
Mhm.
Then Grandpa says, I don't believe in hell, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Athena says, talking about Snowball, she's unarmed, so have some fun with it. And then a couple of things Athena said. You decided to go on the internet and run your stupid mouth. Admitted was in all caps. I meant to write down that she misspelled there. I thought that was really funny too.
Yeah.
But she said, now it's true because you made it true. You wanted it to be true, so you decided it was. This was your idea. Talking about Manorgate, this idea that the rumor that Manorgate existed is what made them decide to do it. And I just thought that was so
You
interesting.
made the rumor. You said it
Exactly.
in the text exchange. So no, by your own account, by your own logic of you made this happen, this would have never happened had you not sent that text.
Mhm.
So, I think imagine if something like that was leaked right now. I mean,
It
not to really
has
do
been.
anything.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
exactly.
The whole
Like
like
I can't.
chain of
Yes.
Nazi like young Doge boys talk.
Uh-huh.
It's like this actually does really happen, and
Yes.
this is the exact. Oh, they're just young kids saying things, and it's like
It was
Yes.
I'm
just jokes.
sorry. But that's the thing. It's like there's just certain things, there's certain jokes, quote unquote, not funny. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No.
There's certain things
Mhm.
that it's just you don't like, why would you joke about it like that? Like, yeah,
And
sorry.
then to jump to this like conclusion is like, I'm sorry, like if say I made a joke that was in poor taste and it
Mhm.
leaked and I was like, well, I'm going to do the thing that is the poor taste joke that I made. Is like, no, why would you do that? Then you're just proving them right. Like you
Yeah.
are,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
it's what came first, the chicken or the egg thing for sure. And it's maddening listening to that speech of hers because it's just like yeah, it's a lot.
So just maybe you just shouldn't like, yeah, maybe just don't be such a rich rich
It
jerk
shouldn't
and
have bothered
asshole.
you that
Yes.
much,
Like
like
why would you even joke about being better than people and hunting them? Like, I don't know. Like, that's just gross.
if
And
you could
using the
do
word
this in anger,
deplorables too,
yes.
I think is
Mhm.
so interesting and coded
Mhm.
also,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also made me think of some arguments that I've made, especially when we were talking about Witch Month, because I'm not going to say the film, that's a spoiler, but when we're talking about Wicked, a huge part of why I love that is like, okay, if you're going to call me a witch, I'll be a witch.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, this is a perversion of that argument because they're
Mhm.
still victimizing themselves because their tasteless joke got them, quote, canceled, I'm sure they would say, when really it's just the consequences of their actions. And that is different from persecuting women for being outspoken or
Mhm.
opinionated or just existing in the world,
Elphaba wasn't killing people for sport.
She was
Like
not, and she wouldn't. If they had joked about
yes.
her doing that, she
No.
wouldn't have done that,
And it's
No.
different than like reclaiming something to like take away
Yes.
the power of that. Like, this is, like you said, a perversion of that idea. Like, oh, you said this thing about me, so now I'm going to reclaim it, because then that kind of strips of it of its power and you can't use it against me. Like, I do
Mhm.
think that there is power in that. This is not one of those situations.
No.
Yes.
But that's, yeah, not the same thing. Not the same thing.
What I do think is interesting, though, is Athena, I'm sure, is like it kind of goes hand in hand with that when they go low, we go high message that is so fucking infuriating and frustrating. But I think this is just a good example of why that matters,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's it's just exhausting to have people with absolutely no scruples who would probably do something like this attack
Mhm.
you constantly, but you can't let it change who you are. You can't,
Yes.
because
I mean,
that's
listen,
when they win.
I hate to quote dad talk, but sometimes you just gotta take accountability.
Yes.
Take
Take
accountability.
accountability.
Even if the thing that you did was just lightly graze your finger on someone.
Oh my God.
Just take accountability.
Jace didn't push that bitch, okay?
No. And
Give me
her
a fucking
reaction
break.
to that, okay, that's a whole, you know what? We're going to
We'll
have
save
a
it.
forum to talk about.
I need this.
We'll get there. Well, listeners,
I need it.
watch this space because we got some shit to get through.
Mhm.
Okay, well, Sammy, why do you think Athena organizes the hunt? And I didn't think to ask this beforehand, so I'm kind of springing it, but do you believe that this is the first time?
I do, because there is that scene in which like the guy that they're with, that's like, oh, we have to have black people because then that's problematic. It's just insane. Yes, insane, but so on the just
Yep.
it's a very good joke.
Mhm.
And
That is being said in boardrooms right now.
yes, yeah, it has. It is
Mhm.
for like it is about women too. It's not a good look, is all I'll say. And he goes like, this is the first time, so we can't pick that many. Like, he's like, we have to let's just do 12. So I don't feel like in the comfort of their own little layer of picking people, like they're picking a prince to go on a date with, and Princess Diaries too, because there's a scene similar to that, but she's trying to pick a prince. I don't think they would lie about that in that room from that POV, but as far as why she organizes the hunt, as we've been saying, like, she's mad. Like, I get it. Like, your career was ruined by rumors regarding a joke text, especially since it is these, quote, deplorables who are reacting to it. So I think, she's obviously trying to fulfill the accusations and turn this false rumor into reality. And I think she's a character sort of driven by personal spite and a like deep-seated disdain for people she deems unintelligent. And like, unfortunately, I get it. I get that. I feel very mad at half of our country that fell for this shit. So I think
Me too.
for me, especially when, she's got the wrong crystal, as we know, and I know we will discuss that, but like, there is an insane literary crisis in our country right now, and we're kind of feeding into it. But the difference is like, I don't want these people dead. I want them to wake up and smell what the Rock is cooking, if you catch my drift. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I want. I want everyone to like understand that this is wrong and not make any excuses for it. In an ideal world, people would have high enough IQs and the morality to match to have never voted for this. So yes, unfortunately, as far as reviews go on that, I do agree. I do think people who are actively still on this train are either benefiting from it or just downright fucking stupid. So I do understand that. But what I love so much about this movie and this character is that she represents the extreme unchecked hatred from the political left, and in turn is meant to sort of mirror the extreme conspiracy theories of the right, which is just like we said, like, I'd only ever seen that on American Dad in like a cartoon form, really, up until this point. And I think additionally what it's highlighting is that in reality, a lot of people are and should be somewhere in the middle. You shouldn't be an extremist on either side of anything or make any political party the only part of your personality. Like, there are more important things to worry about than the worries both sides are focusing on right now. And I just wish I could scream that from the rooftops every once in a while. I did want to give two little notes of trivia here that I really liked that I thought would fit in this section. The final fight was choreographed by 5 women, which I thought was really cool.
I thought that was cool too, yeah.
And then the final fight between Crystal and Athena was described by screenwriters simply as John Wick in a Nancy Myers movie. And I was like, I love that. Love it. So, but yeah, that is
perfect.
I get why she's angry. I get it. I myself, I don't want to see anyone die. I just want to see them be good people.
Yeah. And I want to see some change. Yeah. I do have to tell you, my across the street neighbor has made a CrossFit gym in his garage. And so at like 5 a.m, his garage door is up and he'll just be lifting and then he'll sprint down and up the road. And one morning I was out when I used to get up before sunrise and walk, and I just heard him say, "Can you smell what the rock
is cooking?"
And then
he
the Rock was
lifted
my
his
man. Like, I love that. Like, I literally for my
That's so funny.
6th birthday, I went to what was a WWF like situation at Arco Arena in Sacramento, and like I've told you guys, it was my dream birthday. I was a rock and roll through and through.
Paging Randall Colburn, we know he loves
I know.
some professional wrestling
some
also.
Stone Cold, man. Yeah.
Well, Rachel, what do you think? Why does Athena organize the hunt? And do you agree that this is the first time?
I do think it's the first time. And I think it's fascinating to think about when this came out. And I almost feel like this is more like a comment on, I feel like cancel culture was like bigger than it is.
We're still debating it.
Yeah. Like that was like really kind of, I mean, it's always been a thing, obviously, but I feel like the term cancel culture and like the discussions around it. So I feel like this is almost more looking at that idea and that idea about how, you know, a lot of people are really quick and sometimes rightfully so to be like, done with this person, unexcusable, you're a bad person, you should lose everything because of what you did, said, whatever. But, you know, sometimes there is some sort of nuance to this, and I use that term lightly. I'm not trying to make an excuse for Athena, because I think what she said was not funny, and just joking around like that. It's like, okay, what are we doing here?
I don't joke about killing people, like,
No,
via
exactly. And calling
text.
other people deplorables, thinking you're better than them and all that, like, it's just garbage.
Just assuming they haven't read Animal Farm,
Yeah,
'cause
exactly.
they have an accent.
Exactly. So sort of those inherent kind
She's
of biases.
prejudiced herself.
Yeah. But that this idea that, like, no, but like, that's okay for, okay for thee, but not for me, that kind of thing. And I think it's just, she's feeling called out by it and doesn't like that. And so somebody else has to suffer because of that, because it's like, but they're bad people. And it's like, okay, maybe all these people that you're hunting are maybe not great in one way or another. Maybe, whatever, arguable, open to discussion, or you might not agree with everything that they do. But that doesn't necessarily also make them wrong for calling you out, because what you did is not great either. And so I really think she's just can't actually take a look at herself and be like, okay, I fucked up. And like, and I do think even from the company's perspective, they're like, yeah, you did a shitty thing. Like, sorry, it's kind of like, we can't have you here right now because there's other things to consider, and we can't. This isn't worth backing you, right?
Exactly.
Like, this isn't a fight that we're gonna get behind you on. Like, I'm sure that there's certain things where they're like, no, we're gonna have your back, and like, sorry, this isn't one of those situations. So you got to go. You made your bed, and now you got to lie in it.
Yeah, but
and
then I think
she's
about
not.
like how like we see the other side getting away with a lot of things too. So if you're Hillary Swank and you're watching, I don't know, for instance, your president who's a criminal get away with things, and then you get fired for a text, you're gonna be mad about that. But
it's like Al Franken,
Yes,
like he had to retire from the Senate, and watch everybody else get away with all this shit.
It's hard. Like, I mean, even for me, like, even seeing people get arrested at stoplights is hard for me right now.
And that's why I think, like, it's definitely changed, because like I feel like the landscape that we're in now versus then, like, it's always so it's never been fair. Like, do not get me wrong, but it is really wild now when you think about like some of the things that were like such. I mean, they're calling this Manorgate. You even look at Watergate, and like obviously that is like a huge, massive moment in like in political American history. Like, that whole thing was like such a scandal, and it's like, honestly, shit like that is happening every week, every day,
in the open.
and it's in the open, and it's just not held to the same standard because like everything's a shit show. And so I feel like it's kind of interesting looking back at this. But, even 6 years ago, something like this, I think, would have been a bigger deal for her and her company than like now. Maybe it would have been handled a little differently. And she wouldn't feel the need to do this kind of thing.
I mean, I can't keep up. Like, crazy. I never thought that I would read the words bimbofication fetish on Rolling Stone. So there's been a couple of phrases and things that I've seen these past couple of
things
weeks
that we know. I didn't know I would ever know the Strait of Hormuz. That's
I know, right?
Park Islands, we know about that now.
Oh, it's fine. It's gonna, it's
great.
Gonna recover.
It's gonna be fine.
What would totally make her maybe even not a villain for me, and I'm sorry guys, is if she took not these people that are just American citizens, but the ones that are making the calls.
It's also really petty, because it's like they deliberately are going after ordinary blue collar people who are obviously like frustrated for whatever reason, and sometimes those frustrations are valid and you can understand. Like, you might not agree with it, but you're like, okay, I can understand, I guess, on some level where you're coming from. Like you said, the fact to go after these people who just commented shit out on the internet, not that I agree with that either, but like, do I want to come and hunt you down and kill you? Like, okay. But she's not going after her coworkers, her boss, who ultimately made the decision to fire her, right? Like, she's going after people who have, no real power but contributed to this conversation and deciding they deserve to die, but not the people who actually had the power to make that final decision.
Well, and I think that is so revealing too, because she knows if she went after the people at the top, there would be consequences for her. And she sees them as human beings. She sees these people as deplorables.
Yes.
And I know that's a really, she says, charged word, but I think it kind of encapsulates this idea that like we dismiss people on the right too. And I mean, I live in Tennessee. I live in deep red Tennessee. Most of my neighbors are conservative and it sucks. And I know that there are people that hear my accent and see, like, I'm always a little bit wary when I introduce myself to people. Like if I do a guest spot on a podcast and I tell them I'm from Nashville, I always want to say, but I'm not, I don't blue,
I live in Idaho. You don't have to
Blue.
tell me.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I
even
think
growing up in Northern California where I grew up, like we're about to take the 7-hour drive up there and it's all farmland and there is a lot of signage for a certain person.
And there a lot of them are moving to Tennessee too.
I know.
Like I thought that a lot of people moving from California to Tennessee would be good for us, but it has turned the opposite.
No,
Same.
they're very mad about the water.
Yes. But I think
mad.
this is a really interesting case in point for the left to kind of see, because it shows the fallacy of cancel culture. It shows how, I mean, cancel culture is bullshit. People are not getting
doesn't exist.
I'm sorry.
Louis C.K.
Men are not getting
going to the Rose Bowl in May.
Dude,
okay?
yes.
Like it doesn't exist. Sorry.
Women get canceled, men do not get canceled. But I also just recently read this editorial about look, I'm trying to make myself smarter. I saw a distillation of an editorial on Instagram, but it made some good points about this kind of canceled to Christian right pipeline for men, specifically mentioning Russell Brand and Shia LaBeouf. And it's because for a lot of them, Christianity offers, especially for men, unconditional forgiveness. And it does not make you really now I'm talking about the perversion of Christianity that we're seeing from the nationalist right, not necessarily actual Christians who actually practice Christianity real, because
these people don't practice Christianity.
That's not real Christianity. So just all that, listeners, if you are an actual Christian, you care about other people, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people who are using it to increase their own power. And so it's like there's a place for them. And that's why canceling people doesn't work. It's because they have nowhere to go. There has to be some kind of rehabilitation. I think it's so interesting that we're talking about this on the heels of Blink Twice. Because
that's what I was thinking.
What we were talking about. It's like, what do you do?
I mean, what are we supposed
canceled?
to
you don't
them,
die. You don't cease to
like,
exist.
I mean, think about The Deep, right?
Yes, yes.
I don't know if you brought that up on Blink Twice because I wasn't.
We
on there,
did not.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that, but we talked about that deep, so much on
just
Girls on
making
the
the
Boys.
apologies and thinking like, okay, I've done all the things, right? Like I'm fine now.
The Deep. Okay, I was like,
exactly.
Sorry, from The Boys. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But then when it's still not enough, then that's when you become angry, and that's when you start listening to people like Homelander or
it's
people
how we get the
like,
manosphere. Sorry,
Exactly.
like this is why. It's like, and I hate to say that because it's like I obviously I don't approve of these things that are done to like that these men do.
Yes,
but like we can't, like, as someone who had a felon for a father, like I watched you can't get work, you can't do anything. So it's like, what are we? Should we just execute them? Is that what? Because like, what are they? It's like, where are they supposed to go? What are we supposed to do with these people? And a lot of them, especially if they're actors or in the arts, they don't know how to do anything else.
No.
Like this is what they do. So then they, they get the worst type of fans and they get them to rally behind them. And then it just cycles this hate bomb that we have been living under for the past 15 years.
And it festers in this bubble and we don't see it until it explodes and they suddenly are fucking Joe Rogan with 1 billion listeners,
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm not like, I just listened to this other podcast episode about the difference between punishment and accountability, which is really interesting. It's called Pantsuit Politics, not to mention another charged word, but I have a lot of complex thoughts about it because it's two women from Kentucky talking about politics. But this was a really great episode, so I recommend you check it out. And I'm not advocating that victims of people who have been harmed by these men should have to forgive them.
No.
What I'm saying, and I'm also not saying we forgive and just let them continue on. What I'm saying is there has to be some kind of structural way to rehabilitate. And we have to invest in that. We have to be interested in it, not because we are giving these men a free pass, but because it's better for us in the long run too.
Yeah.
You know?
I also think it's really interesting thinking about the moment we're in now and just like, okay, maybe people are saying you're doing one thing one moment, but does that damn them for all eternity?
Mhm.
Like, because like, I mean, how many people, even you mentioned Joe Rogan, even coming out now and kind of being willing to evolve or admit that what you thought might not be true and to not be completely tied to one thing that you said, years ago, and just not being willing to change. Like, there are people who are able to shift and be like, oh, that's not what I wanted, and now I feel like a fool and like fuck that guy kind of thing. Or people that are willing to evolve or say like, I messed
Admit
up, I
fault.
wouldn't have done that again. I thought that at the time, and now I see that's not exactly true, and like I backed the wrong horse kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that going on. However, if you're like so definitively shoving people onto one side or another, you're not allowing that. You're not allowing even that sliver of hope of opportunity. Like, hey, you can change your viewpoints, and
So
that's
then they
okay.
won't. But they won't if they don't think they can. It's like
exactly.
Joe Rogan
They're going to
is like,
double down.
Yes, and I'm not going to turn on his podcast and listen to him. Like, I myself am not ever interested in that. But what I am interested in is if you can get these millions of listeners that you have to change their minds and
say it's okay. It's okay to say like, no, I messed up, and that's not what I signed on for. That's but that's not what you said.
Change your mind based on new information.
Yes,
and although
that's what we
shouldn't
should
have
be
taken
doing.
that much, if it does, and this is what I'll take whatever I can fucking get at this point. That's where I'm at.
And part of me is worried that people are going to hear me say fucking Joe Rogan and turn this podcast off and stop listening. I've never listened to an episode. I don't
think we have any listeners that are like that.
And he's just like a pillar. He's like he's like
a
top
figurehead.
Of the food chain in that in that sphere.
I also think that there are way worse people in the world than Joe Rogan. Like, he's probably fine, But I think that's what I mean when I say we need a structural way, because I also, the hurt and the anger and the rage of "we fucking told you so" has to go somewhere. We cannot continually swallow that, because that's just building resentment with us. And that's what makes us want to not accept people back into our tent and say, fuck you. We told you so. How could you have voted for this? So there has to be a larger system where we can balance. And like the day that I am able to say, hey, okay, come in. I will talk to you about this. I'll tell you how you made me feel in a kind way, while maybe Rachel and Sammy, y'all can be mad, and then we trade off. Like, it has to be a balance. We have to figure out how to do that in a collective way, or else we're never going to be able to do it. Because if it's all just forgive and forget, then I
just don't know how we do. Like, and I think that's why even lately in life, like Mike and I were talking about it today at like a therapy appointment, because we're both in therapy because we are trying to become better people.
Hey, I go a ton of therapy.
Yes, and he was like, I just have this, like, we were talking about like our sense of apathy, and it's like, how do we get out of this? Like, I genuinely, like, I want so much, but I don't know how we do it. I am at the point right now where I feel like it is so far gone in a way that like is hard for me to go like, oh, I would be around this person at this point if they still voted for this. It's hard, and I don't want to be that way. I wish I didn't feel that way. I wish I could just kind of, let bygones be bygones. But like, when you have literally changed the course of history for the worse, it is really hard to kind of be like, no biggie, like, it's cool. Even if you changed your mind, because again, like, it shouldn't have taken this much. But I will take what I can take. As I said, I get worked up, and I feel a lot of apathy lately. Just because I don't even know how we begin to rebuild our society right now. I
think unfortunately it is on us to figure it out, because I don't see anybody else doing it. It shouldn't be. And I think it just starts with being honest about how we feel about it, and talking about it like we are. And listeners, we want to hear from you. I'm sure we're talking about a lot of really charged political things, and part of me thinks I might give a content warning at the beginning of this. It's just like,
that's fine.
Hear us out, because we want to talk about this in a nuanced way. And I don't want anyone anyone not to listen to this podcast. I want you
Of
to hear
course.
what we're saying.
I would like
you
to
know?
think that they know our,
I would
feelings.
too. Like, I think our brand is pretty clear,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
But also, like, if this is your first episode, like,
Yeah. To the hunt. I love that.
Exactly. No, you
Well,
never
that's
know.
the thing, though, right? I
First
mean,
play.
what is
Yeah,
the
it could
message of
be.
this film? Who does it appeal
Yeah.
to? You know, that's the whole thing,
Yeah.
right? Like, there is
That's the
some
thing.
who was mad about it when it first came out, not who. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an interesting film.
Agreed. I agree.
Well, I'm going to take a breath.
I
And
know.
let's pay some bills. Okay, I do want to talk about Liberty. So this is just such fucking gem bait here. When she has been mortally wounded and Snowball is about to go up to her, Liberty is one of the female hunters. Dawn is like, no, you can't kill her. She's a girl. And then not Liberty, Snowball
Crystal.
is like, yeah, ma'am,
Snowball.
should you be afforded mercy because you're a girl? And she says no. Poo.
Mhm.
Okay, so Rachel, should she be afforded mercy because she's a girl?
No,
Yeah.
no, and I like that Liberty practices what she preaches
She
in
does.
this
Me
moment.
too. Me
To
too.
the
And I think,
very end.
That's why Snowball asked her, because it's like, because she knows if this was a different situation, what she would say. She would say,
Yeah.
no, of course not. Like,
Yeah.
feminism, right? Equal playing field in all manners, in all ways, and all things. But here it's a moment where it's like her life is on the line. It's like, are you going to actually believe what you believe in this moment when it could save your life or
Yeah.
kill you? Like, how strong are you in your convictions? And so I do
Yeah.
like
And
that
she
Liberty
stood by
says
him.
no. She stood by, because she knew what would happen if she said no. And honestly, the same thing would probably happen if she said yes.
That's it.
Because she would be
exactly.
like,
At least
yeah.
you have your dignity in the end. You
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my answer is
do-
no, and her answer was no.
Yeah.
So there you
Yeah.
go.
I love that we keep calling her Snowball instead of
I know.
Crystal because I'm picturing the Simpsons cat.
Oh,
Because
Yes,
that's the
Snowball
name.
2 also.
Yes. So I'm like, I just like picture the little black cat and Santa's little helper in the back. But
Yeah. Love The Simpsons. I love that it's
Me
not me
too.
that made The Simpsons reference.
Yeah.
this time,
no,
'cause
it's
normally
me
it is-
now. Yeah, my niece is having a Simpsons themed birthday for her 8th birthday in June. So we're going to San Francisco, but we're gonna like deck out the Airbnb, and we've already bought I bought her the vans, the limited vans with the Santa's Little Helper and Snowball on them, and we got her a swatch with Lisa Simpson on it, her first watch. Sorry, not that matters, but I'm very excited.
No, I love it.
Just
I mean,
fulfill my
look,
little
Lisa is one of my
yeah.
idols.
I love, and she is the little Lisa. It's perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Well, Sammy, what do you think? Should Liberty be afforded mercy? I got to say it in a Southern accent, or I'm not going to be able to get it out.
Liberty, the
Liberty.
pursuit of liberty.
The pursuit of liberty and mercy.
Yes, I think she should not be afforded mercy. I think that goes against everything I stand for. I think it goes against everything we stand for here at the pod.
Yeah.
We want women to be bad and not be, I don't know. I just don't feel like they should be treated any differently, right? We want equality, not to be on top of anyone else, to get special treatment, even if that means dying in this particular situation. But I think this scene sort of emphasizes that Crystal sort of operates outside the traditional rules of engagement. Like, she's treating her enemies equally, regardless of the gender, the color of their skin. Like, it doesn't matter. They are enemies. And I would even say that Liberty sort of chooses to adhere, to her feminist beliefs by refusing this special treatment. So ultimately, I think the movie uses this interaction to sort of highlight Crystal's sort of cold, efficient survival instincts and the rejection of the political correctness practiced by them, like the elite hunters. But I think it's a good look for both women in the end, I guess.
I think so too. Yeah. Okay, well, speaking of things that maybe do or don't matter, I want to talk about Snowball / Crystal. I also like that, like, Crystal and Snowball are kind of the same. And also,
Didn't even
Crystal
think
is
about that.
just the most on the nose Mississippi name. It's just perfect, Like, apologies to all of our Crystal listeners, but that's, I mean, you know what your name is. Anyways, so Crystal says, "Now you done fucked up, lady," and I fucking love it.
Oh my God.
It's
The
so
best.
funny. And I love that her name is Justice for Y'all. Like, that is just perfect. Okay, but we have this conversation about whether she is or is not the real Crystal. Is this the Crystal that Athena was actually targeting? And so my question is, does it matter? Like, Rachel, does it matter if this is the real Crystal or not? And do you believe that it's not the real Crystal?
See, this is what I was interested in hearing about with this character, because I didn't know where you guys landed with this, whether or not you believe Crystal's story or you believe Athena's story. And personally, watching it this time, I kind of believe Athena's story. I think Crystal's fucking with her the same way she fucked her with Dawn.
With Dawn.
Again, doing the same thing like with Liberty, kind of like pushing like how strong are your beliefs? Like, how does this change kind of thing? Like messing with her head a little bit. And by saying that, like, oh no, there's two of us, that kind of thing. That story's actually not true. I'm a totally different person than her. I think that that's her way of making her be like, shit, do I follow through on this or not? Kind of thing. Putting just her whole plan in question. Does it matter ultimately with the story who Crystal is? No, I don't think it does. Because like I love this character.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, do I think
exactly.
she actually probably did post that thing? Yeah, maybe she
I mean,
did.
unless they're twins, because that lady looked a lot
Yeah, I was like,
her.
was that not her profile picture?
Yeah.
You know, was that not her? Or did they find that after, you know, or was it not attached somehow to like her
Yeah.
comment? I don't know. They didn't really go into that. I also do wonder if some of these things were edited, you know, fixed differently afterwards, just because this was pushed back and maybe they added sort of this element of ambiguity to make it a little less one side versus the other. I'm not sure, to make this character a little bit more centrist compared to when it initially came out versus March of 2020. Maybe there was like some clever editing there. I guess it doesn't matter because ultimately these people are trying to kill her.
Yeah.
And so does it matter who they are in this situation? Like not to Crystal. Like she's just trying to survive one way or another. Like, does it matter how they're politically affiliated? No. Does it matter if they're rich? No. She's just trying to survive and get back home.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily matter who she is, as far as like who she aligns with either. I do find it interesting though. Because we don't actually get to know a lot about this character.
No.
And even the little things we do get to know, it's like, do we believe her? I do believe that she served in the militari. Because that explains her training.
Yeah.
And like, even the way she dresses, I think it was really interesting. Like I have the Blu-ray, and one of like the very few slim special features, they talked about how they like were really careful about how they dressed all of the characters and how she's wearing kind of something a little dated, a little 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
That whole outfit that she's wearing kind of signaling that was a time that she felt a little bit more safe and free in her life. And so kind of using that as armor, kind of this like Delia's catalog sort of like shirt kind of thing. But she's also got like sort of like the military from the bottom
Cargo
down.
pants.
Yeah. So it's kind of like she's sort of stuck in her life and not really, I don't know, feeling fulfilled in some way. So like regressing back to kind of like a teenage self of when you were a little bit more like free and comfortable and stuff. So I thought that was a really interesting small choice, but I think it tells us also a lot about her. And I don't know, just kind of rings true and resonates with what we see her and her actions do.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking about Hostel too, because she's talking about how like she does that, and then and there's not really anywhere to put this in my shitty job, and I was like, is she gonna try to take that consulting job? Like, part of me could see her joining the upper echelon of this and seeing this as her opportunity, because she says, I'm not this Crystal. She doesn't say I voted for X. She doesn't say, she does not
We never
clarify.
find that out.
We don't. Yeah. Well, Sammy, what do you think? Does it matter who she is?
I mean, so when I watched it this time, I was like, they would have had to know she was in the army. Like, and she doesn't mention that. Like, they diligently did their research. Like, she knew everything about her. So it was like, I don't feel like they would take someone who had military training if they didn't know, like, if they didn't have to in their
Mhm.
12 selected. So for her to not, or for her to be the same Crystal, I think she might have been in like special ops or something,
Could be,
because
yeah.
that's not disclosed. Like, again, like, because there's so little here, like, there's so much meat to chew on in this film, but there's so little given to us about the characters. I kind of have to let my mind create backstories for people. So like I said, for her to, I think, be who she is, she's supposed to be, I think she must have been in some sort of black ops, like something that wasn't disclosed, something that Hilary Swank's character, Athena, couldn't find out,
Mhm.
because that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Mhm.
It just does. But I think it matters to the elite because her ability as like a skilled,
Yeah.
politically moderate outsider allowed her to survive this situation.
Mhm.
And sort of, in the end, expose this agenda like that's driven by vengeance for Athena. And I think because she was not this extremist that they expected, she doesn't fit the narrative, and this made her far more dangerous to them.
Yeah.
And as we've been saying, like, I think she represents the majority of us. She's just an average person that's been caught in the middle and
Mhm.
doesn't have a side and doesn't deserve the injustice of this circumstance. Like Rachel said, she is just trying to survive. And I think she serves as like an avatar for the average American who's just trying to like have maybe a chance at happiness and avoid ruin despite the crazy people with megaphones
Yeah.
shouting and the people trying to do the bad things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, because most of us are single issue voters. Like,
Yeah.
we, the three
Yes.
of us, and maybe the people who are listening, we are probably a little more plugged in than the average person when it
Yeah.
comes to politics, because a lot of people are just trying to get by. They're just trying to keep their jobs. They're just trying. And so it's not until something affects them or somebody they know that they
Mhm.
become kind of
Yep.
engaged. And that while I think that we should change that, I want everybody to be involved in politics. I also think that that's understandable. I was that for a long time.
Yeah.
And then 2016,
Most
I was
people
like,
are
ooh,
busy
maybe
with
I should
their
pay attention.
lives, like being parents, going to their jobs,
Yeah.
like the people in suburbs that aren't on Twitter, don't know a lot that's going on.
Yeah. A lot of
And
people
that's
just don't vote at all. They're
I
not paying attention to it,
I know that. Like I've
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people that I know that do like that, or they don't think it
Mhm.
matters,
I
because
had a coworker, and she's a lot more engaged now because the guy she started dating is. But for a long time, we had this agreement where she was like, "I don't really pay attention to politics. Can you tell me when there's something I need to pay attention to?" And because she knew that I was very into it.
yeah.
But I love that we don't really find out much about Crystal, because I think it takes all of it takes away the chance to victim blame,
Yeah.
like, because, yeah, there's no reason to hunt human beings. Like, it shouldn't matter what she posted online. It shouldn't matter who she voted for. It shouldn't matter, what her political alignment is, or if she's engaged or not. You shouldn't be hunting people. And I think if we did get, because part of me is like, I could see it going either way. I could see it going that she is this real Crystal or she's not. Like,
Yeah.
and it could be that if I watch it again, I might have it. I think a
Because
lot of it,
now.
honestly. Well, yeah, I know. And I also think this is the kind of movie that I could see myself fixating on different things depending on the day or depending on my mood,
Totally.
Yeah.
But I like that it removes that temptation, because, yeah, these people may not be great people, but that doesn't mean they deserve to be hunted down and killed.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
It's
think of a few people that might deserve that,
Yeah, and
but no one
yeah.
in this movie.
And
Yeah.
maybe it's a little bit more complex for her too. The fact that she served, I think, is interesting. Like, I think of like people in my own life that I know that have
Yeah.
have been in the military, or I mean,
Mhm.
you look at like the Rambo films and like all the First Blood films, and like it changes you. Like, she talks about being in Afghanistan, and I love that interaction. Like, oh, so you were like never in the shit kind of thing. Like, oh, you're a National
Yeah.
Guard.
Yeah.
Even like, okay, but you
Yeah.
like, all right, you didn't actually really like see much, which is good for you. But I think that probably adds some layers to her feelings. Like, maybe she left one way and kind of came back a different and isn't really sure, because it's like a lot of times
Yeah.
it's like, even looking at just the fictional character of Rambo, it's like, you come back home after doing this thing that you think you're doing and like serving your country and doing what's right, and then seeing everything kind of like fail around you and support, like, that's going to shift your outlook in kind of some confusing ways. So maybe the person that
Yeah.
she was, I mean, I know that was only, I guess that was only like a year ago, but I'm just saying she has right to be mad at both sides. And maybe just that day
for
she was
sure.
mad at this side because like valid.
Yeah.
Like don't get me, it's okay. You can be on one side and be mad at that side. And that doesn't, you can also be mad at the
Absolutely.
other side.
Yes.
So for all we know, like she wasn't, maybe she's an equal opportunity despiser of both sides, but they're just
You're
seeing
not
the
supposed
one
to
part.
blindly love anything,
No.
And
like
that is why the Democratic Party is where it is right now. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but like we have to push forward and push for change and, new generations.
If anything, she strikes me as like a libertarian kind of like
I could
she
see
gives
that.
don't tread on me vibes. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I just mean like what libertarianism used to look like, kind of.
Well, and
before
that's
it
the
became
thing,
what
like,
it is.
or what Republicans used to look like too.
People didn't
MAGA
have
is not Republican.
I literally knew that I had no idea they were conservative. It just wasn't talked about. Like it was like fiscally conservative. People didn't have big flags in there on their cars and in their garages and it just that didn't happen when I was growing up. Like I got my news from Nick News with Linda Ellerby on Nickelodeon, and no one really talked about politics. It wasn't good versus evil the way that it is now.
And you could argue, like, because part of me wishes I had been paying more attention, because I think that's when a lot of courts got packed. I think that's when a lot of momentum was built when we weren't looking. But I know what you mean. It just didn't used to feel so charged. Yeah. And I think because it has spun into something that is not as much about politics as it is about identity anymore,
It's about hate. It's a breeding ground for hate. Yes. They're angry and they want to take it out on someone, and someone is giving them the push and the egging to hate. And if people really want to hate, they will cling on to that. Sometimes it's all anyone has.
Even if it's hurting you, if it's hurting them more, then that is, because we can't envision a world where good things happen, where maybe we just all have enough. Maybe we can share a little bit,
What a concept.
Seriously. And that's why we got to vote for women, because women can see that world. Anyway,
we can do shit on our period.
Not Athena, though.
Guys, contrary.
Not Athena. No, we should not vote for Athena. That would be bad. But what would be good is our next category. Good for her.
Claiming she could take it no more, the young mother released the emergency brake, allowing her car to roll backwards into the nearby lake.
Good for her.
Okay, yes, we know murder is bad. Nobody deserves to be hunted. And that's why I'm reminding us that we're also talking about a fictional movie. These characters may closely approximate people we see in the news, but they are not. We are talking about concepts, not actual people. That's why, again, I like that we are not talking about this right before an election.
Oh, God, yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about jackrabbits and box turtles. So I was ready for this big, profound speech. And I was like, all right, because we hadn't had too many monologues.
Yeah,
I know. And then I was like, well, this is just the tortoise and the hare. What are we doing? But then it takes a turn, a very Jen turn, because this is
your mama told you that story.
It's not your average. It's not your grandma's, Aesop fable. Like,
exactly.
This is a little more R-rated.
She says, once the whole turtle family is broken into little pieces, he, the jackrabbit, sits down and eats their dinner. Every last bite, because the jackrabbit always wins. And I was like, all right, that was worth the wait. I'll allow it. But Crystal says a couple other things I think is really interesting. She says, because everyone is lying. And then she says, depends on whether they're smart pretending to be idiots or idiots pretending to be smart. Which, I mean, if that does not just encapsulate the world right now, Yep. And then she also says, when it turns out she has read Animal Farm, and you know what? I have not read Animal Farm.
I haven't either. I've only read 1984,
girls.
and I love 1984, but I've never watched. So after we finished this,
1984.
I was like, I loved it. It was assigned in school, and I just
that's
really
the thing. It was never
liked
assigned
it.
to me, so I was like, well, I got to read the fucking Mayor of
I only really read huge literary novels when it was English class,
Same.
Yeah. And that's at least they were teaching me something.
Exactly, and I read a lot of great books,
and I could make write an essay on it. No basic essay structure, which I hear most kids don't know these days. So I'll take it. But
that's funny. I was that nerd in AP English who did reports on Animal Farm and Machiavelli.
I would love to read
I took
it.
AP English too. I was the TA for my AP English class. And it was great. I loved it because I was a little English nerd. That was
It was my favorite subject. History
Yeah.
and English were science and
And
math could eat.
I mean,
my ass.
here's the
hated
thing.
it.
I'm so
Yeah,
grateful
same.
now, looking back, now thinking about this, that I had a teacher who once I loved Animal Farm and was like, I want more like this. She recommended The Jungle. She recommended The Prince by Machiavelli. And it's like, you know what? She'd probably be fired now.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes,
She wouldn't be able
exactly.
to
Alive.
See,
Like-
and my version of that was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I read that and I became obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And then my teacher was like, you should read Sometimes a Great Notion because it's
Mhm.
really good.
Mm.
And it is good. Everybody should read it. But yeah, that was just one that passed
well, there's a
me
new
by,
animated movie coming out. So
of Animal Farm.
yeah.
Well, maybe I'll read it
It's
now.
a children's movie.
It's pretty short, too. Yeah, you can fly through it.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. I've never
a
read any
trip.
Orwell and I've never read any Vonnegut. And it's just
I've only read
you know.
Slaughterhouse 5 and Cat's Cradle, and I loved both. But sometimes I just have to be really in the mood for something
And-
that isn't fantasy and horror.
You know, those Stephen King books aren't going to reread themselves for the millionth time.
I know.
So
I know. That you honestly, I was like, Jen honestly has been neglecting
I
her
have.
constant reader badge.
I started reading Christine again this week, so I'm back on my bullshit, you know. Okay, well, so I do want to talk about this because she says Snowball is an idealist. That's why everyone makes up lies about him. And it's just this moment of like, even if she is a Republican or like intelligent people vote both ways, you know, and
Yes.
stupid people vote both ways. They are smart pretending to be idiots and they are idiots pretending to be smart. So
We met a few of them. I know a
Yep.
lot of people in Florida that
oh god,
don't
well,
even
Florida.
like believe in Trump, but are doing it because they're benefiting from it. Like you think-
Exactly.
like they're taking advantage of you, guys.
Mhm.
Like,
Well, that's
sorry.
the thing. When our text thread about Mormon wives, we're like, you know who they all probably voted for? You know?
Oh, Frankie Paul voted for Trump. It like came out. Like
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm
it
not
doesn't surprise me.
Exactly,
Yeah,
I
it's
know, yeah.
Utah. They're
Again,
Mormons in Utah.
I'd like to see those receipts that they actually voted, though, because I
Well,
have a hard
that's
time.
the thing. Odds are they didn't. Yeah.
Didn't even-
Yeah.
Well, Rachel, who is the hero and who is the villain of this story?
I don't think anybody. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
any heroes. I don't know if there's. Well, okay, here's the thing. I don't know if there's any heroes. I think they're all villainous in one way
Yes.
or another. That's the thing. Like, nobody's likable in this movie except
Mhm.
Crystal. And that's just based on the fact that she's kind of, and we don't know that much about her. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
And that's why we
she's
can like her. I
our
think.
hero by omission kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like, we don't
And
know
by
enough
awesomeness,
to,
you know.
yeah. But I think that we get enough in that whole line about how like Snowball is an idealist. It's that idea that, yeah, she's not firmly in one camp or another. Like maybe she's not happy with everything, but also that doesn't mean that she is gonna, that she has to be with
Yeah.
one side or the other. Just by not liking a situation or how things are doesn't necessarily define you necessarily. It's what you do with that. So I do think that she's our hero, yeah, by default. But everybody here is shitty. Even the victims. Like, do I think that they deserve to be hunted down and drugged and removed from their families? And I mean, we see like Ike Barinholtz's character, right? Amy Madigan is like, oh, he's wearing a wedding ring. Like, that's something that it's like she didn't take into consideration until
Yeah.
that moment. And then they make just more excuses like, oh, right, but he probably uses, the N-word on Twitter and means it. That kind
because
of
they
thing.
need it to fulfill this.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like in that moment where it's like, you don't actually know these people. And like, yeah, they might have families and you just like made their situation worse. Like, not saying he's a great person, but you don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Like the rest of him, they're not seeing these people as people. And so I think they're all kind of villainous in that way, that they're not open to any sort of plausibility and like looking at these people as like complex human beings. And so I think that, yeah, they're just all really shitty. And even like, I mean, all of the people in the bunker, right, just kind of, it's like they're having fun. And that to me is just equally just so gross. Like, they're cosplaying as heroes, thinking they're doing something like righteous and like we're actually doing the world a favor by getting rid of these like terrible people. And just the fact that it's like they're all playing the part, because it's like, none of them are have actually like served time. They don't even know how to like actually use a gun. They don't know how to use a grenade,
Yeah.
right? They're like, oh, you have to pull the pin. They're just in this. Just the position of power that they're in allows them to hire people around them and to build out this thing and to get away with these things in a really gross, disgusting way. But like, God, Athena's the only one who actually trained. I mean, I'd say if I have to give her anything, at
And
least
she's not even
she's been
out
training
there.
for 8 months to like actually do some sort of combat. Where the rest of them are just like, oh, this is a fun romp in the countryside, the Croatian countryside.
And we're
This'll
going to
be
hire
fun.
a consultant, so we'll be fine. You know,
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
outsource our military knowledge.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's just real
So-
gross.
Yeah. Sammy, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Rachel. I think there isn't one. The movie is trying desperately to say something more than just bad versus good, like light versus dark. It's a satirical film, and it's about how people on both sides of the political spectrum can be garbage people. You know, both parties are exaggerated with all the typical dumb stereotypes, and both sides are equally made fun of with characters that act like idiots. Like, no one's left untouched in this film, and I appreciate that. Like, I think everyone deserves to be made fun of a little bit. Yeah, like, sorry, and so it just does not bother me in any way, shape, or form. But I think anyone who thinks this movie is like sticking it to the the liberals or the conservatives are the exact people this movie is making fun of. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I think there seems to be this idea going around that Republicans think we don't want the Democrats punished or the liberals punished. Like, no, you don't get it. We want all of the bad people gone.
If
the
Bill
bad
Clinton is in the
billionaires.
Epstein files, fuck him.
Good.
Yeah, exactly.
If fucking Taylor
I mean,
Swift
we're saying if.
participated in something like this, okay?
Yeah.
I am a mega fan. The more she hangs out with these MAGA losers, the more I've retreated from that fandom. But even if she did something like that, I would be like, okay, like, then let's get her. You know what I mean? Like,
we ride at dawn.
This defies party, and I don't think they understand that. Like, there are no sides when it comes to sex trafficking. There are no sides when it comes to child sex abuse or abuse of any kind or pedophilia or hunting people for sport. These are hard, heinous things, and if you can
Yes.
overlook them or make excuses for them, then you are the people I'm talking about here, and your political affiliation means nothing to me if you are, but your morals do. You know, that's what matters to me, not who you voted for, but how you treat people. And that's what this movie is about, and I think we could all use a little bit of that. I don't know.
I kind of like the jackrabbit idea too. It's like, I don't even think the jackrabbit is like, I think it's a bigger idea, right? It's like the jackrabbit is just like capitalism, the patriarchy. It's like, it's not even like one or another, like one side or another. And I think that's kind of what's interesting about this story that her mom is telling her, because it's like the idea that it's not enough to win the race, because then this other, the rabbit's going to come in and he's going to kill them all and eat their dinner because they always win, and anything outside of that is not acceptable. And so it's kind of that idea. It's like, that's not going to serve anybody, because at one point you're going to be the turtle, and at one point you might be the jackrabbit.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the jackrabbit always wins, it's just, you're just going to be going back and forth. And like, I feel like for a while there, it's like, maybe our side was taking a nap. Right? Joe Biden was literally taking a nap. And like, look what happened. Like, you think you're in a position of power, and that it just keeps flip-flopping. But ultimately, by that logic, capitalism is always going to come and take everything you have away from you, because that's how the system works. And that's why it's like, it's the system that's flawed. Not necessarily just, you can't just blame it on like these people or those people or us or them or whatever. Like, that is a distraction.
That's how we got here. And if there's a reason why we're getting all of this influx of news right now to distract from things, there's a reason we're getting AI too, because they're trying to, like, everything is, there's a reason for it. Yes.
And just flip-flopping, who's in charge from what, that's not going to solve it. That's the thing. It's like,
doing that
exactly. Like, it's got it's a bigger change that needs to happen. And I'm not saying it can't or that it won't, but like, it's just to think about it in such binary things is never going to actually change anything.
Well, and everybody thinks they're the box turtle and everybody thinks they're the jackrabbit. They think that
Mhm.
they are going to be able to be the jackrabbit, but really they're the box turtle. And I love that she never clarifies what side that is, because
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
well,
think we can
because
see
it
ourselves
changes. Yeah.
in all
It's
sides
up
of
to
it.
the viewer.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
who are you as a person when you hear that story? Where do you put yourself and someone else? I guess like
Exactly.
it is
And
entirely
that's
up to you.
exactly. And where you are in your life, because I mean, for a long time, like I've talked about this, I grew up in a very conservative household with a very, very conservative, problematic dad. And it wasn't until I started teaching in a public
Too.
school that I was like, oh, maybe this is not, maybe maybe there's more to consider, you know? And
Yeah.
I think that's what I really like about this movie, is because I don't think there are any true heroes and villains, because like life, there aren't true heroes and villains. Now, there
No.
are some that are about as close to comic book villains as we could get, but they're still human beings. And I think we see that when we're celebrating people's deaths. And I'm not going to police anybody's reactions to anything. Like
Mhm.
you feel how you feel.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, every human being deserves grace, as infuriating as that can be, because I've been hurt by some people that I don't want to give grace to.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's why we need to do it collectively. It should not be
Yeah.
on each individual. And I think this movie just shows us that. It's like we're all people, we're all trying to do the best we can until we're not, until we give in to that anger and that petty grievance and that, like, well, I'm just going to shoot them all. That's when we become the villains, because we have let go of this idea that we're all just like, I know a lot of people down here who voted a certain way because they secretly have always wanted to be mean, and this is their chance,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
because they're selfish. And I also know a lot of people who voted that way because, one, they're not super informed, and they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
They have distanced themselves from this problem, and they don't deserve to be hunted down because of the way they voted. And I think it's so much more nuanced, and it's infuriating to constantly feel like you have to be the bigger person and say
Mhm.
that, and say, maybe I
Yes.
have to be the first one to extend that olive branch. But if we like, I don't want this world for my kids when they're grown-ups.
No,
I want it to
why do
be
you
a
think
better
I'm not
world.
having kids? That like
Yeah.
it's really, I can't imagine what it is like to be a parent right now and like look at the future, like what's on the horizon at the
Dude,
moment.
he came home.
I
Did I
can't.
talk about this in our last episode? I can't remember where I talked about this. Oh, it was with Randall. It was with one of our Patreon Losers Club episodes. My son had career day at school, and he came home, and I asked what was the most interesting career, and he said a soldier, and I was like, no, no, no. And I
Don't
mean,
go.
he's 11, so
He's a
you
boy
know.
at
And
11.
he's
Like
also
it's
very into art and like music and act. So like,
yeah.
I don't know if I realistically, they probably just had the coolest thing to
I
give
mean,
them, you
yeah,
know?
Or
who
maybe
like
they had a cool
boys group
job
of
in the
GI
military.
Joes.
Exactly.
Yeah, like,
Yes. But I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot, especially because my kids, I'm going to have one in high school and one in middle school next year, which I somehow,
That's crazy.
crazy.
not
I don't
25
get it.
anymore. I don't
I
understand it.
know.
But so anyways, and if it means I have to swallow or expel in a healthy way a whole bunch of rage to try to push through this and get us to a better place so that when my kids are my age, they're not worrying about the same thing, then I think it's something that I'm willing to do. But I also think it's going to take us leaning on each other, because it's really hard
It
to
can't
do
just
that.
be you, Jen. It
It
can't just
can't.
be me. It
Exactly.
can't just like, it shouldn't be on the citizens of a country
Yeah.
to completely rewrite, like fix our problems that are at a level that are out of our. It's like when they tell us to, not use plastic bags because that's what's going to save the world, not
Exactly.
your
I'm like,
like
okay, well, yes,
database
I can do
centers.
that,
Like
but I need the big business corporation
it's
people
on
to make some
you.
changes too.
Yeah,
Exactly. You
yes,
have
like
your power is greater than mine to use
we
it.
elect these officials to make change. This is what it can't be any one person. Like
Yeah.
sorry, it just can't be.
And we
And
have to stop voting for the people that don't change anything. Like, that's
yeah,
a big lesson I've learned
Regardless of where
this
they
time.
fall. If you're
yeah,
not doing anything,
if
get
you are
get the hell
actively
out of here.
promoting hate, I genuinely don't care what your political party is. Like, I don't want you in charge. That's
Exactly.
just like, that's just how I don't know. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
just built different.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm going to roll our next question. We're going to talk about Good for Her, but I want to let's go ahead and die for this movie or decide if we are in our next category, die for me.
Look at her. I would die for her. I would kill for her. Either way, what bliss.
This is a section where we give our final thoughts and decide will we die for her. Sammy, are you going to die for the hunt? And is this good for her horror?
I do think it's good for us whore, good for
Yes.
our country whore,
Yeah.
you know? It sounds like I'm going whore.
Oh,
It's good
got
for
a
our
little
country,
crystal sneaking
whore.
in.
Yeah. And I think it just has
I blame
more
myself.
to say. Yeah. Sometimes if I hear a country accent, like it's like when you hear a British accent and you want to repeat
Yes.
it back.
Dude,
Like,
my
it
boss
makes me
is British,
feel-
and all day I just want to echo
I would just be
what he
like, bit
says, but then
strange,
he
and
gets
it
mad.
like I just don't.
Yeah.
Hey, like I can't help it. Like there's
I
just
know,
something
yeah.
so cartoony about it, and I love it.
Mm,
It's almost like a vocal tick. Like I'm always so
yes.
embarrassed by it. But so yes, I do think this is a good for her horror situation. I think it has more to say about how thoroughly and confidently we judge people and make claims based on how they present themselves online, even when we know that method is flawed. And it just feels like it's saying more about our country than any other piece of material I've seen the last 6 years as far as this situation goes, like the us versus them type of thing. And I do think it, like, this our episode on the menu came out today, and I do feel like it's kind of like a nice unofficial companion piece to that
Yeah,
film.
absolutely.
Neither are all too interested in attacking particular ideologies in earnest, but they do poke fun at all sides while honing in on the unseen sort of toll these spheres of discourse can have.
Hmm.
And as far as dying for the film, yes, absolutely. I love this movie. This is only my second time seeing it. And I really enjoyed it when I watched it that time. And I enjoyed it while I watched this time, but like it definitely hit harder in a way that I wasn't expecting, just given the shit show of what we know now. And I think what it does so exceptionally well is just make fun of nearly everyone who gets caught up in today's shit. The liberals are over the top, the conservatives are over the top, cliche after cliche, and they all seem kind of silly. And they should, because I feel like cliches only become real after they've been manifested too often in the world, kind of.
Mhm.
And I do think everyone can learn something from this movie. And what's even better is it's drenched in humor and action to make that message a little more palatable, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rachel, what do you think?
Oh, yeah. I think this is good for her because like Crystal, Snowball, I feel like the character we get at the beginning, I feel like she proves something to herself.
Yeah.
And like, I think that moment on the plane is kind of that moment, which is an interesting, how she, I love that she saves the dog, number one. She's like, I'm taking this dog with me, which also tells us something about her, that she doesn't leave that dog there.
Yeah.
But also that she puts on the dress and gets on the plane. And I think it's just her way of having a moment where she's like, you know what, I'm going to enjoy this for this, but she's also going back to her life. Like, she's like, I just want to go home. So it's not like I think that she's going to like now be some like, ooh, now I'm in the place of privilege, but just like, I'm going to enjoy this for a moment or whatever. And it tastes fucking great. And also that she was able to get through that insane gauntlet.
Yes.
Also, her mannerisms in this movie are insane in the best way.
I know.
The faces she makes.
I love it.
The way she talks. That moment when she's in the car and she does her little like, and then just like
good.
kicks it.
Yes.
Like, I just love how she's just, it's like she's just not putting up with any bullshit. And like the moment she senses it, she's like, okay, taking action. Like, nope. She's just very decisive and doesn't overthink things too much, which I think is really just so fucking funny and fascinating. I do think would I die for her? I would die for this character. This movie, I think it's interesting. It's something it's like I need some space from because I won't blame people if they're like, this is like, it's funny. I do think this movie is actually really funny. Like when that guy says, like, what is this Avatar shit? Like that makes me
it's
laugh
great.
so hard. Like I like
the part
rewind
that got
it.
me is when the dude is like, I don't think they believe you, Randy, because he like drops his act for a minute. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yes.
It's like there's some moments in this that are genuinely like really funny, but at the same time, it's just like this isn't a joke right now.
Yeah.
Which makes
No,
it kind
it's
of
very
like
real.
hard to watch and is like interesting to consider like when it came out. Like, oh, we can joke about this. Isn't this funny? It's like,
I think we
oh
thought it was
God.
over. You know, we
Yeah.
were ending it. And
Yeah.
little did we know 4 years later we were not only going to go back to that, but go back to that in a way that
With
is
a vengeance.
Yeah. So it's something that it's like I would lightly recommend to somebody depending on, you know, how they're feeling these days. I wouldn't recommend it
Yeah.
to everybody, but I do think it is an interesting movie, and I do think it's important for both sides to look at themselves and be like, nobody's clean here. And so I kind of do like that. And yeah, so I would ultimately die for this movie. I also think it's a really interesting snapshot of the time, and will be interesting to kind of watch how feelings evolve and change as time does. And
Yeah.
so I'm always fascinated by those kind of things. And yeah, Betty Gilpin and everything, please.
Seriously.
Love her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Put her.
Love her.
And if you haven't watched Glow, go watch Glow. 'Cause
So
it
good.
is
So good.
great. Yeah, I think this is good for her heart. Just for this final battle, I think like that is really good. And I think we've got two, I'm going to say complex, even though we don't learn very much about Crystal. I think she is like empty enough that we can project a lot onto her, which I think makes her
Yeah.
a complex character kind of by default, you know? So we've got two opposing female characters who both are kind of making some good points. Both maybe they're a little good, maybe they're a little bad. And I think just that in itself is good for her. And the fact that they fight like this is so cool. I mean, just John Wick via Nora Ephron, like that's
I love it.
incredible.
No, but that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, I like how she's kind of like a male action. Like, I mean, we see this all the
Yes.
time. Like
She's
John Wick is a
masculine.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, we do get some backstory with John Wick, but like he says very little in the subsequent films. Or you
Yeah.
think about like Jason Statham characters. It's like they're just very stoic and capable, and you don't know a lot about them, but they're doing these things and they're doing fighting, and they're just kind of being real tough, and you don't get a lot of backstory, and they're not saying a lot of things, and it's interesting to see a female character kind of embody that persona, but also make it her own. She definitely makes
And
it her
neither
own.
of them are sexualized either.
No.
Like they
I
just
she's covered up quite a bit.
Yeah,
Like
both
I
of
think
them.
she is just really attractive because of
She's
the
just
way
naturally
she looks. Like,
beautiful.
yeah, exactly.
And we
like,
don't have that like strategic rip where oops,
No.
my bosoms,
yes,
you know.
exactly.
No.
Yeah.
It's not for the male gaze,
It's
you know.
not,
So
no,
maybe
that's-
that's why I'm so like attracted. There's just something so like hardcore about her, and I
Yeah.
let her punch me in the face.
I
Oh,
might
yeah.
let her step on my foot, you know.
Yeah, no, me too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so okay, so for just that fight alone, I agree with everything y'all are saying, but I think that fight makes
Justice
it-
for y'all.
Justice for y'all. That's also so funny, you know. And you know what? We're reclaiming y'all because y'all is gender neutral, and
I
so
say it all of the time. Like
y'all
it just-
means all.
Yeah,
I've got a shirt that says that. So, and then I am gonna die for this. I wasn't sure if I would, because I thought I knew what this movie was going into it, and it was kind of what I thought, but it was a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. I'm glad I watched it now and not back then, also, and I'm glad I watched it and then got to unpack it with y'all.
Yeah.
Because it's helped me clarify a lot of how I feel about it, and I think this is an evocative movie. Like it sparks a lot of feelings, and I think I like how simple it is. It's complex, but it's emotionally simple, and it allows you to channel a lot of feelings but also kind of unpack them. And I think I saw myself in this, and I saw people I'm frustrated with, and I saw people that I have rethought how I see them through this. So I think it's just a really well written, well plotted movie, and it doesn't give us answers, which I like because it allows us to find the answers for ourselves, you know, because there aren't straightforward answers for things like this. We have to find them ourselves, and we have to we got to do the work, you know. So yes, I'm gonna die for it. And on that note, let's wrap up with what's coming next.
Unlock the next configuration. And then the last. No. I've done enough. Enough is a myth.
if you want to follow the show, you can do that on Twitter at the Lady K Pod, and on Instagram at the Lady Killers Pod. You can find me at Jim Ferratu. I mentioned Murder Made Fiction. We're talking about whistleblowers. We talked about Silkwood too, which is really interesting. And Kurt Russell is just fucking dreamy as hell. in
Isn't
that
he
movie.
always? Come
Ooh,
on.
I mean, yes, but this brought
He's in
me
his
back to
prime,
like the
yeah.
Overboard
Mm.
days, and I was like, woo! And we're
Ooh.
also talking about Chernobyl on Patreon, which is
Oh, Jen,
again,
do you like that show?
you know what? Surprisingly, I do like Chernobyl. I
First
fucking
time
love
watch.
that show so much.
Jen,
First
is
time
this
watch,
your
yes.
first
Definitely not the
watch?
millionth time watch. And then on Losers Club, we are doing our official ranking of everything. And I just did a long watch on Sometimes They Come Back last night. And that was,
I know, because I did all the research.
you
for it
did
for
do all the
Mr.
research.
Mike.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You gave us an assist on that. So that was super fun. I've got a real soft spot for that movie. And then
I
Rachel
loved
and
it.
I did too. I grew
Yeah.
up watching it. It's
It's
yeah,
sweet.
it
It
was
just
fun.
is warm. It's like a warm blanket. Like
Yes.
like I feel like with Hocus Pocus, it would be like a good double. Even though it doesn't.
It's got a
like,
very like kind of autumnal October feel
TV
to it.
movie feel. I just love it.
Yeah. Well, and Rachel and I, we've mentioned The Girls on the Boys, which is Rachel and I's podcast where we talk about the boys. We are having a lot of similar conversations over there. So if you
I'm
enjoyed
sure
this
you are.
episode, we've been talking about it over there too. And we are gearing up for season 5, which promises to go real hard. So
Yeah, it'll be
check us
out
out
by the
there.
time this comes out.
It
so.
will be out by the time. Yeah. So we're going to do, I believe we're going to do it by release. So yeah, just check us out there. It'll be fun. Rachel, where can listeners find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at the Vinyl Girl and Letterboxd Vinyl Girl, and Halloweenies Hellraiser 3, baby. We're going, and Omen 3 as well. So we're getting in it now. It's gonna be really exciting. We also did a commentary on Little Nicky the other night, which was
I know.
really
I love that movie.
interesting to revisit a different time, talking about movies at a
Mike
different
adamantly hates it. And I'm like, I like it. I think it's funny.
It was, but it's again, it's just like this movie, easy breezy, 90 minutes less.
Good.
Like it's not, it doesn't overstay its welcome. So that was a lot of fun on Halloween.
And Sammy, where can listeners find you?
As always, you guys can find me at SRK Doll on Letterboxd, Instagram, Twitter, and doing the socials for the Losers Club and for us. And then, as always, what I'm watching or what I have watched. Okay, so this is a big Netflix like thing because there's 3 that I watched that are like incredible. There's a new documentary called Butterfly, which is about the dangers of the eye transplant, like the eye contact transplants with the eye color change. Insane story. Just an insane situation.
No,
like
thank
when
you.
I'm telling you that like I watched this guy just look over every red flag from this company in India and was like, I'm still going to do it. And then what ended up happening is just like nuts. So I highly suggest that one. There's also a docuseries called Seville.
The Predator of
Yes.
Seville? Yeah, I
The
saw
Predator
that.
of Sevilla. It is a couple of episodes. I had no idea about this. I was in shock the entire time. Like, it is one of the most, like, horrifying. Like, I was very affected by it. By the end, I was, like, crying by the end, so it is a lot. But it was so well done, and these women are just so strong, and, like, it's right up our alley as far as just what we talk about here, and I really suggest that. It was just a beautiful docuseries, and the lead girl that, like, did everything is just, like, I was blown away by this person. And then something very bad is gonna happen. I talked about it a little bit off mic. Loved it. Really, really loved it. Also, Stephen King is watching it, and he posted it on Threads, and Mike and I were like, I would love to like see Tabby and Stephen King like watching this show for some of the places that it goes. Like, it just killed me knowing that he was watching these scenes that I did. So those are my 3 suggestions for the day. You guys check those out. Let me know if you like them.
Yes, I definitely will because I need something to watch. And that's it for our episode on The Hunt. Thank you so much to my esteemed panel. Listeners, big thank you to you especially for this episode. Like, we talked about a lot of heavy stuff.
Yeah,
we want to hear what you
did.
think.
Hanging tough.
Yes, thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
And I hope we didn't offend you. you
It's
know,
not our intent. We're just
it
No,
was
angry
never our
girls.
intent. We're trying to we're all doing the
Unpack
best we
it.
can.
Exactly.
That extends to you
Yes.
too. So yeah, we want to know what you think too.
Yeah.
Just remember we're human beings with feelings. If
Please
you
don't-
are mad at us,
Please don't be mean to
Hey,
me.
don't yell at us because I'll cry.
I'm
Yeah.
just a girl.
We're not Betty
I'm
Gilpin. We'll just
a
say.
girl.
Oh yeah. Yes, and we do deserve mercy in this context because we are
Come on.
girls.
I didn't
But
kill anybody.
all that to
Yet.
say, thank you for just always thank you for spending time with us. But
Yes.
thanks for hanging with us through this one because it's it's a lot of stuff, but we got to talk about it. You can give us a quick rate and review on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars, please.
Say 5 stars only.
And, seriously.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think we're fine. I think our listeners know who we are.
I've been
but-
trying to get us back to that 4.8 on Spotify. We're at 4.7 and I want that 8
Oh,
back.
let's do
I
it, listeners.
want it
You
back.
could be part of it.
You could be that 4.8 for us, okay?
You could.
Every
yeah.
review counts.
Smash that subscribe.
does.
Oh, we're also
If
on
you're
YouTube.
at the ballot box, stay in line.
Stay in line. If you're in line to listen to the next episode of Lady Killers podcast, stay in line.
Stay in line.
Oh, so we're not done eating the rich, though. We are
No.
and we're going back to the 90s,
Yes.
early 90s,
Very early 90s.
very early 90s next week with The People Under the Stairs. But until then, remember, ladies and ladies, support women's rights, support women's wrongs, and
Cigarettes in Arkansas only cost $6.
woo!